Yeah.
It's the theatre of war. It's the
Yes.
theatre of theatre.
Well,
There's a lot of intersections.
There's a lot of interconnectedness, isn't there? It really is.
Yeah, it's a spin out. Well, I did a little bit of research to why that is, and it's to do with the propaganda machine.
Yeah.
So film was first used as propaganda, and they made it on a production line. So you got pre-production, production, post-production.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the same way you look at a tank and how you build a tank. So it's the same. They looked at it as the same methodology of production.
Yeah.
As a chain.
What do you know?
Yeah, and that's why the terminology is the same, because it came out of that industry. Oh, that's empty.
And, there was a documentary, a short, episode made of your experience, wasn't it, Ross? I forget what that was called.
Yeah, they made a documentary. I was a part of a documentary suite of 9 interesting people, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was called Models of Achievement.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was in a...
Unis are terrible at making up good names. The content was brilliant. Yeah. The content was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was interesting. A lot of my comrades, if you will, saw that.
Yeah.
And they're like, I've gone full hippie at that point, so I've got a goatee down to here, my hair's down to here.
Yeah.
I was in the midst of being in a very hardcore heavy metal band as a lead singer. Playing venues around Sydney, just being a muso essentially.
Yeah.
And then the film thing sort of accidentally happened. Really, I went to film school, but I didn't go there to be a director. I went there to be a sound designer and a Foley artist. That's really what I wanted to get into. But I started directing movies, and it just took off.
Oh, okay.
I just became a
It's
practitioner.
funny how that happens, where we're not looking for it and it just appears.
Yeah, totally. I call it ass backwards. I fell ass backwards into it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking, with Holly as well, like we worked together on certain TV productions, and I started as an intern at the TV station at Television Sydney.
Yeah.
Within 4 years, I was its supervisor. I was
Okay.
running the joint. So that was an incredible journey.
Yeah, well, you learn very quickly under those circumstances.
Yeah, totally. Your hand is always forced, and the budget is always low.
Yeah. Well, hello. Yeah.
But you got to find a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll go through a bit of the format for you today, man.
Okay.
So we'll just do a bit of we're doing it now.
Yeah.
Just warming into ourselves.
Yes.
We're getting the lock-in done. I'll do an intro at some point. Doesn't matter where.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just do it when it happens.
And then you've got it then. Yeah, whenever you want it, wherever you want to use it, you can cut it in.
Yeah, I leave it all raw.
Yeah.
Like I just cut the front and the end off it, and I just publish it like that.
Oh, okay.
So I publish it in its long form. It's very rare that I edit something out. If we said something really controversial and silly, I'll cut it out. But that very rarely happens.
Yeah, okay.
I usually happens with cinematographers actually. They'll start bitching about a director. I'm like, I can't put that in because that's not good for business. You're just emotional right now.
This is not a news service. It's a
It's information.
It's information, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not gossip.
It's not gossip. And,
Yeah.
But that stuff works itself out anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I'll just get this mic a little bit closer to you, Terry.
Yep.
Great, and I'll switch to Terry, and you have a look at that, and then I'll minimise OBS.
Yeah. When you get,
Yep.
I like how you call it OBS.
Yeah.
OBS. Yeah,
OBS,
Yeah,
observations. What?
Yeah.
It's a software.
Outside broadcast software. I think it stands for.
Outside broadcast software.
Yeah, that's the one.
Excellent.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, now we're in the zone. Now we're in the butter zone. I can
that
hear
good?
you now. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
If you can hear yourself, I can hear you.
Yeah, I know. I can hear myself.
Yeah, great. So you're Josh Brolin over there. Fantastic. I always say Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin, John Goodman. Don't Christian Bale just yet. It's my...
I've just minimised OBS.
Oh, we're good. Are we good? Yeah, man. So so you're house sitting today. Was it house sitting this weekend?
I've been house sitting. I directed a show last year called The Twins, and we kind of had to rehearse in. The main part of the rehearsal was in Victoria, and I was asked to come along to that rehearsal period because I was also the main guy's. The guy who was running the show, called Ian Darling, I was his acting coach basically initially, and then I was also giving him some tips on everything from voice production to relaxation or whatever. And but as it turned out, he he's a guy of great vision, so he sensed that the girl who was directing it might be in a situation where her daughter might need her, in which case she would have to leave. And she said, that's a remote possibility, but it might happen. So how would you feel about coming along? So I went along to this thing, and within 4 days of main rehearsal, I was directing it because she had to leave. And it was only his vision who, always making sure he's got a backup plan.
Oh, and, you have to in this industry, man. You have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
Crazy stuff. But anyway, I went on tour with that. We opened at the Adelaide Fringe Festival, and then we came back to the Seymour Centre, and then Sydney, Canberra Theatre Centre, then Gasworks in Melbourne, and their old alma mater in Geelong, where he and the comedian Greg Fleet both went to school together and did lots of theatre together, and it was a story of the exploration of their lives. So, I've got a dog, they've got a dog. I was looking after their dog. Lucky I was, because I noticed he wasn't well.
Wow.
And I rang him and his wife and just said, look, there's something wrong with Ralphie. They're like, oh, I'm sure, I'm sure he'll be fine, but let's just keep an eye on him. I said, a bit more than that, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, turned out after about 2 days and him nearly dying, it turned out that he had a tic, a paralysis tic. And it's now, he's now been in hospital now for 4 days or something.
Yeah, wow. Tics are terrible.
Yeah, especially on these little hounds, they can't tell you what's going on, but I could see something was wrong with him, Anyway, it worked out well. So,
and they went full circle. They went back to Geelong to connect from where they came from.
Yeah, that's what they did, and it was a powerful piece because it was two guys exploring their lives. I mean, Greg Fleet went from, they both were at Geelong Grammar together, which is a ritzy school. Ian went into banking and then later on into directing. He directed that doco, The Final Quarter, about racism in AFL with Adam Goods.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that.
Yeah, that was really good, yeah.
Yeah. And Fleety went into comedy and heroin. So very, very different kind of strains.
I think that's the name of a roller coaster, isn't it? Comedy and heroin?
Comedy and heroin.
I'm aboard.
And the beautiful thing is that it doesn't matter how successful you are in whatever area, there's always... there's a lot of stuff that men don't talk about, and
that's true.
And guys often harbour stuff in their souls that doesn't get out much. And as they began to explore themselves and their lives, they realised that they were both in a degree of pain. Fleety used heroin, and Ian sort of hid behind a kind of a bravado. That said, he was always in control.
Yeah, well, we all have ways of dealing with things, right?
We do, and it's normal. The more guys realise that, the better.
Yeah, I'm a workaholic. That's how I deal with it. I'm a worker. I've got to create stuff.
Yeah,
and that's how I keep myself occupied.
Well, it's good if you know that's what you're doing. You can sometimes cut yourself some slack and go, you know what, I can go and relax for an hour.
Yeah,
somewhere. And you're not beating yourself up about it.
I always worry though that am I still avoiding the demons within me? Am I at some point I've got to face the things that those things are? And I think sometimes really it comes down, people talk about like PTSD or different conditions like this. I really identify that as an identity crisis. Yeah. It's not knowing who you are, and that you become lost.
Well, exactly. Know thyself is a very old expression, but at the same time, for many, you coming from an ex-military background would know the notion of, in years gone by, there was such a thing as being called, having shell shock, which is now, post-traumatic stress disorder and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we move away from the actual definition to these washy definitions.
Yeah,
I think it was George Carlin that said that really well. It's not shell shock; it's post-traumatic stress disorder. But they're the same thing.
They're the same thing, but no one understood what shell shock was. I remember there was a guy when I grew up in the country. It was a lovely man called Charlie Knowles, and he had come back from the war. And I didn't even know he was in the war, but you know, we just saw him from the local school bus driving to school, and he lived in a shed on the outskirts of town, kind of thing. And a lot of people kind of used to make fun of him, you know, but he used to do odd jobs out for my dad on the farm, kind of thing, you know. He'd sit down and eat with us, and we were always told to. He wasn't. He was Mr. Knowles, and that's how we treated him. We we'd sat down and eat with him. And we were eating with Mr. Knowles, and that was there was no sense that we would kind of be calling him Charlie. He was a man. He was a dignity. Yeah. But we didn't understand that. And most of the kids didn't have the brain power to understand that there might be something wrong with him that might have been brought on by circumstances of war.
Yeah, totally. Oh, you never know with people as well. You don't know what they're going through. And you don't know, and people deal with it, again though, I've just come across it so many times, like, people deal with it differently. Some people become shut-ins, they become hermits.
Yeah.
Some people become very, for myself, I became very, I was about to say existential, maybe I do get a bit
extroverted.
Extrovert is the one I was looking for.
Yeah.
I had to convince my father, that was the hardest to convince. Like, he would be saying, why do you want to be a musician, Ross? Why would you want to do that? And it was very hard to explain to someone who's not on that space why you do that.
Yeah.
And
it's a real thing, fathers and sons, man. Even in this play, you realise that both of these boys in this play, and the twins, both had incredibly powerful fathers, and the one that went and later took heroin and all that sort of stuff, his father faked his death and disappeared.
Okay. It doesn't happen often.
No, but
maybe more often than not, actually.
And then you realise, I mean, Fleety had this great line in the play, which was like, it wasn't. Didn't I tell you that my father didn't die? Didn't die.
He didn't pass away. Yeah.
He said, no, you didn't tell us that. Oh yeah, no, he was seen. He was seen working in a real estate agency in Launceston. And he goes, now I know that working in a real estate agency in Launceston is like being dead.
They always run to Tassie, though. The Tassie's the place to run to.
Or Darwin.
Yeah. Darwin's a good runaway.
Last frontier.
Yeah, it's the last frontier as well.
Yeah, I mean, but, father and sons, man, it's a real weird thing. And did you sort it out with your dad?
Yeah, mate, yeah. I guess I watched...
Played him a few power chords and said...
Well, no, I don't think I was ever going to convince him through the content, but through the journey, I was able to convince him. Okay. Like, I saw the penny drop with him one day, where I said, "What would you rather? Would you rather me go and pay a therapist to talk about my problems, or would you rather me write an album about my problems and then scream into a microphone to a sympathetic audience?" Like, to me, they're both the same thing.
Yeah,
they really are.
Yeah.
But one you sweat a lot more, and you work a lot harder, and it's more of a payoff.
Well, and you come out with an ability.
Yeah, totally.
Most of the time you go into therapy and you come out just kind of knowing yourself, but you haven't learned any more skills.
Yeah, you haven't advanced further than the emotions themselves. Yeah, so that's when I saw the penny drop with him, because he goes, sometimes it's a money pit being being a muso, it's a money pit.
Yeah.
It's hard to get things off the ground. And when something does eventually pay, you're basically just paying back the debts that you previously had over the last projects that you were running, right?
Yeah.
That's usually the cycle of it. And then you'll have a windfall, and you're like, yeah, I'm surviving, man. I'm thriving, in fact. And then, a drought will happen for you, and then you go back through the process again.
Yeah.
Why pick that lifestyle? Well, I guess for me as well, it's passion. It's wanting to be a storyteller.
Storytelling's a big part of it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What about your journey though? You were a muso before you were an actor?
Yeah, I was. Well, not really. I mean, I was actually on stage all through my primary school, high school, but not professionally. But then after school, I became a professional musician. So, and we toured Australia and did all those things like Countdown and stuff like that. I mean, when I played in those days,
you were in Countdown
two or three times, I think. On Countdown.
Mad.
In fact, we did the Running on Empty single. Was on Countdown. It was released through Regular Records, and we did that on a Sydney version of Countdown. Countdown would occasionally come to Sydney and be recorded in Sydney. But
With Molly.
with Molly.
Man.
Was a good guy. He was always very nice to me and very kind of like, encouraging and all that sort of stuff. Very kind of cool guy. Loved music, clearly loved music.
And Australian music as well.
Oh yeah,
Like he's a keystone man. Without Molly, like a whole bunch of bands wouldn't be out there.
Well, exactly, and I mean, the weird thing is in those days, you just played all the time. I mean, everybody went out all the time and saw bands every night of the week. I mean, you could play 6-7 nights a week. Some nights. I mean, we've got things that come up on social media, like ads for a week at a venue in Sydney, Melbourne, blah blah blah, and it was like 7 days a week with all of Australia's major bands plus. I mean, there was nothing for us to do sometimes in a day, 3 gigs in a day,
Yeah, wow.
So you do an afternoon at a university, a nighttime gig at a pub or a whatever, and then a late night gig at a club. And that would often happen. And people were doing this regularly, up to like, we did like 300 dates a year mostly.
Yeah, wow. I think my biggest peak as a muso was like maybe a gig a week. I think a gig a week at different venues around Sydney. But then you get to that point where you've exhausted your audience because everyone's seen your set, they've heard your set.
Yeah.
And then you sort of got to push into other markets, and that's when the real penny drops. That's when the real hard work starts.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, we had road crew and we had a truck and we had everything. We would travel all up and down the coast, and then we'd fly to Perth, and then we'd go, literally everywhere, crisscrossing the country. And every country town had at least one venue.
Yeah.
And every, it was just a massive business in those days. I worked at FBI Radio for quite a while, and I'd hear people saying, "Hey, you guys are really busy. You've got 2 gigs this week, and next week you've got a couple of gigs," and you kind of go, "Wow."
Yeah. It used to be another time. There was
another time. Yeah. And let's face it, in those and Australian music was what people went out for.
Yeah,
totally. The touring bands, if they came, you'd go and see them, but most of the time people were seeing the Australian bands,
Yeah, well, you can go to a pub and see Akadaka. You go to a pub and see Midnight Oil.
I saw Midnight Oil. We've supported Midnight Oil lots of times, and we I saw Akadaka a number of times. It was like, just like at the Bondi Lifesaver, you Akadaka.
Yeah,
no worries.
You don't get that. Like, man, as a younger muso man, like when I was like in my early 20s, right, would be trying to do shows, like we're doing shows up in Queensland, and when you're young and vibrant, you're like, man, we're going to be rock stars, it's going to be fantastic, everyone's going to love us, like the world's not going to be able to get enough of us, right? And sometimes that happens, but sometimes that doesn't happen as well. It's hard to push that machine along. But yeah, I think around my 30s, then you start, when you start turning into a soundie. Have you ever, you know what I mean? Like the angry soundie?
Yeah.
There's always an angry
Did you become an angry soundie?
No, I didn't become an angry soundie. I used to look at angry soundies and go, I'm never going to be that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were, all soundies have the same story, right? They were in a band that fell over and now they're a soundie.
Yeah. They know how things are done.
Yeah, and they do it their way every time.
Yeah.
And there's no negotiation.
Yeah, I've worked with a few.
Yeah. See, there's that work with a few, man. Like I must say, there was one soundie once that I really fell in love with, and that was at the Factory Theatre.
Yeah.
He had a list of our names and would call us by name to do our instruments and like to do our work. We're like, oh wow, this is good.
Oh, he was a pro.
He was a pro. He did it properly. But I've had other guys where I go to move a mic stand. They go, "What the fuck you doing? You can't fucking move that fucking thing." We're like, "Hey man, shit, I'm just moving a mic stand, man. It's in the way. I don't even use a mic stand.
It's not in my way, buddy."
Yeah, no, I never wanted to become an angry, disgruntled artist.
Yeah,
I always wanted to progress forward and make new things. But there was certainly a shift between music and film. Like for me, organising shows and then doing film festivals was an easy fit for me. And I saw the opportunity there, like through different festivals. Like, man, if we only did what the music industry did in the era that you're talking about, where we pumped it up and pumped some blood into it, get some people passionate and excited, you can totally set up a market and set up set up an audience, set up a network of industry professionals, and get it going.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did you get conned into or asked to do Running on Empty?
Well, I was in a band called the Elks, and we were on the verge of breaking up. And
which is any Friday for any band.
Yeah, well, we'd been together for 5 years. You know,
that's a long haul for a band.
A long haul, yeah. But we toured everywhere. You know, we'd had a good run, and I mentioned to one of the fans at the band at one of the last gigs in the city in Sydney. Was this big gig in one of those kind of, they were sort of like a beer barn in the city. And she was talking to me afterwards and said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I studied acting in Perth, so I might sort of see if I can do some acting." She said, "Oh, well, I know some friends who have got a casting agency. I can set up a meeting with them if you like." And I said, "Oh, that'd be great." I didn't know what a casting agent was, you know. So I said, "Well, yeah, that'd be great."
Yeah. And just surf the wave, man. Just surf
the wave. She sent me in to meet these people, these lovely people, Michael Lynch and Ray Davidson. And they sat with me for a good hour and talked through stuff. And basically the message was, it's hard, it's tough, but here's a very long list of numbers and places to see. These, you know, these are people who are casting films, these people are doing this, these people are agents, these people are, you know, just off you go, good luck. They said, "Well, thank you very much." I was driving home in the car. This is how long ago it was. I was driving home in the car and noticed a phone box across the road you know, just as I came out of the city and heading back towards Coogee.
Okay.
And I was kind of on the back streets of Bondi Junction, winding my way through that way, and I saw this phone booth. It would have been in like Wallara or somewhere at the back of Wallara. I just went, fuck it, and I pulled the car over and went over to the phone box with my list of numbers, and I rang the first one at the top, and I said, "Oh, hi. Look, I hear you're casting a film." And the woman on the end of the phone said, "Yes. What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm an actor," thinking she'll be delighted to hear from me.
Yeah, she can't wait.
Can't wait. Oh, great, an actor's called. Excellent.
I'm waiting for your call.
Yeah. And I said, "I'm an actor." And she goes, "Oh." And in that moment, I suddenly got what the film industry was about. Like, anyway, she said, "Oh, what have you been doing?" And I said, "Well, I've been singing in a band for quite a while." And she goes, "Oh, yeah, what's the band called?" And I said, "The Elks." And she said, "The Elks?" And a girl on the other side of the room heard her and said, "The Elks? I saw them the other night. They're fantastic." And she said, oh, you better come in then. We're casting a film called Running on Empty.
Wow.
So I went in, and initially I was looking at one of the lesser roles, and then when I got to meet John Clark, he wanted me to do the main role. So we had a lot of things in common, like some strange shit happened in there, like.
I love it when this sort of stuff happens, where it's all serendipitous.
We both had spent time in Perth. You know, he was from Perth at one stage, and I'd spent growing up there, kind of thing.
Love Perth, by the way. Perth's awesome.
Perth is awesome. It is awesome. But there was the most kind of powerful connection in one way was that we both loved cars, and we both knew the film Two Lane Blacktop. I had actually got. At one stage, Esquire magazine had published the actual script of Two Lane Blacktop in one of their publications. I lent it to a fucking friend in Perth who never gave it back, John Johnson. If you're listening to this,
man, if you're listening,
I'm coming for you.
Right.
Anyway.
Get a prepaid envelope ready, bro.
Jesus, man. It was a very rare find. You know, I'd actually stolen it from the Curtin University Library. It was called Wait at that stage. But yeah, it was in the library and I actually stole it. It was so good.
Yeah.
So karma, I guess. John, you're welcome to it, I guess. But it was an amazing read, and it had a 55 Chevy and a Pontiac GTO, racing across America. You know, like they would. It was the formative kind of running on empty, and we just John wanted to make an Australian version, but I understood it exactly what he was on about. You know, he didn't have to explain street racing or muscle cars or anything to me. I just went, oh,
yeah, man,
I love it.
Yeah,
and he just goes, because a lot of actors would be like, oh, is it something you could do in the theatre? And no, this is about culture, popular culture. That's got nothing to do with anything to do with high art. Although we do explore that a bit in the film.
It does get explored in the film, and people even wear this as shirts, right? Like I was explaining to my crew because we obviously actually I haven't done the intro. Can I do the intro?
Yeah.
Let's do the intro, mate.
Yeah, sure.
And welcome to the Pagey Train. Today in the studio with me, Terry Serio, actor, musician, one of the godfathers of Running on Empty. Welcome to the show,
mate. Thanks, Ross. Great to be here.
Man. Obviously,
and Holly over there behind the everything.
Yeah, Holly's producing for us tonight. Hello. We finally got to the intro. I always delay the intros these days.
A nice delay too. You know, I mean, it's like watching a football team come out and just blow it apart in the second quarter.
That's right. Obviously with Running on Empty, there's a massive cult following that has preceded it.
Yeah.
So it was already tapping into that car culture to begin with. Was Mad Max out before or after Running on Empty?
Before, yeah.
Mad Max was before?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that sort of
just before.
So it feeds into that. The thing I really like about the film is it feeds into that Ozploitation space.
Yeah.
Where they were making movies like Stone, even to comedies like Alvin Purple, all these kind of pop culture sort of films.
Yeah, I think Running on Empty is a bit of a blend of those things, isn't it? Because there's this strange comic element in it, like with the cops and stuff like that, and then there's the hardcore kind of drama element as well. You know?
Totally.
It's almost like it's funny because when I first got involved, the designer Norma wanted everyone to kind of be dressed a bit like Fox's Gang. And I had to talk to John and just said, look, I just feel really weird about this looking like that we're like Fox's Gang. I think it'd be better if we were more like, kind of flannel shirts and kind of blue jeans and like a normal, like normal guys, And these guys were the kind of freaky fashion weirdo guys, and
they're the fringe.
They're the fringe, and we're the guys that we're actually kind of the salt of the earth guys who really want to race. And I guess the message was that if you wanted to do it, you could do it. I mean, you just looked at Mike and Julian and my mechanic, we just looked like normal dudes, and we, and Jerry's character, Victor, we just, he starts to look a bit like the Fox crew as he gets sort of
he gets more edgy as the film gets on.
Yeah, he does get a bit edgy. Yeah,
but there's things that come out of there. There's so much gold that comes out of that film. There's one thing that I love seeing at the festivals, and that is when people are wearing a shirt that says Art Lover.
Yeah.
Right. So that art lover, that tie to what art is, and people people look at cars, or they'll refer to people that like cars as motorheads or petrol heads.
Yeah.
And that kind of I feel removes the idea of what art is in cars, because cars are painted. Cars have a massive amount of engineering that goes behind them.
Absolutely.
There's upholstery that you got to do. There's a total look to a car. You can totally have a themed car. You can do anything. The imagination is the limit.
Well, and not only that, but millions and millions and millions of dollars have gone into the design of cars, the art of cars. I mean, everyone from the guys who built the American muscle cars to the Italian Pininfarina and all of those people. The bodywork of the vehicles became almost like their own mythology in a way.
Totally.
They were symbols of power and you know, at one stage they looked like rocket ships. You know, they actually were built to say we are like the gods.
Yeah, totally.
You know, we look like rockets, and we can be like that. We are godlike in these cars, and the mythology was created by people who actually believed that. You know, in their heart, sure they wanted to make money, but at the same time, they kind of truly believed the mythology as well. That's what I think.
I think so as well. I think there's, especially when cars are looking like rocket ships, right? Because the space age was going on.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of like technology was on the grow. Things were changing. Even textiles had changed. Fashion had changed. Yeah. Like previous to that, like teenagers would pretty much look like their parents.
Yes.
Until you get around the 50s to the 60s, where there's a definite divide between adolescent and adult.
Yeah.
Like they're totally different cultures, and that pop culture was really born out of that. I think cars, rock and roll, fashion, these things really tie into that movement.
Totally.
Yeah. And so it is art. I am an art lover.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing that you know, I think we got. I mean, when I first met with John, we were of the same. We cut from the same cloth. We both understood that notion, and both understood how powerful that was if we made it right.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, yeah. Did you ever think though that it would get this kind of momentum after all these decades later? Like,
no. I mean,
because it's insane.
It's insane. There's only a handful of Australian films that have got that legacy. You know, there's only a handful, like Running on Empty, Mad Max,
The Castle, maybe
The Castle.
Yeah, these are up there. But I don't see a festival happening out of the Castle though. Maybe they could do like a Comic-Con thing. I don't know.
No, it's funny, isn't it?
You wouldn't go to the picnic at Hanging Rock Festival though, would you?
No. And the weird thing is that Running on Empty was released all over the world.
Yeah, it was a drive-in. It was a drive-in movie.
Well, it was also, but it was in hardtops as well. You know, it was like all sorts. You know, and yeah, drive-ins, but also hardtops. I mean, it was released in Germany, France. You know, you name it, just everywhere. That's rare for an Australian film.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, nowadays, it's
especially from the Ozploitation era as well, out of that space.
I mean, you know, I'm a working actor, so I know how much we want our material to be released in the US.
Oh yeah,
because it's you know, it's serious money if it happens. You know, the number of films that's actually happened to are minimal. I mean, you know, like the what's a recent one, Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, Animal Kingdom for sure.
And everyone involved in that just took off. You know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but again, that was good to see though, because those guys like clearly love what they do.
Yeah,
they clearly love what they do, because I think there's some bits of work that you see get put out there. You go, yeah, they're good at what they do.
Yeah,
but I don't think they love what they did.
No,
but I think there's certainly, like, you know, Running on Empty is a great example. You can tell there's a lot of even though, like, you talked to John about it, like he had some of the worst time making that film. He had the best time with the cast and the crew.
Oh yeah.
But everything, all the politics around the film, he had a really horrible time.
Look, the interesting thing about that is that he knew that I was always going to be on his side, you know, because I knew what he was trying to do. Anyone else trying to do that would only fail because they wouldn't have the mythology in their pocket, or they wouldn't believe the mythology, you know. You know, if you're going to direct Running on Empty, you've got to believe in the car gods. You know?
Yeah, totally.
It's as simple as that. If you don't, you won't make the right film. You know.
Yeah, it's like through the Running on Empty festival recently in Cobar. By the way, guys, if you can go and check it out, the documentary's coming out soon. Shameless plug, I know. But it'll be out in a couple of weeks. Actually, I've been cutting it. So
really? Where can we see it? On YouTube?
It'll be on YouTube, yeah. I'll release it to John first and see if he'll want to do a private screening first.
Yeah.
Once he does the private screening, then I'll publish online. But yeah, it's looking amazing. I've got some.
So from the first one and the second one?
Yeah, well, the first one's on there, so 2018's already online.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you go to my channel, it's in Still Searching Productions. You can go and check it out.
I better subscribe.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe and tick for notifications while you're there. Yeah. Thank you very much. We've got the doco coming out soon. Oh man, what a mind-blowing festival. The thing that really blew my mind was the younger people that were there.
Yeah.
Like, they're too young to have seen this movie. Like, because you would think with this day and age, right? Like, you know, the amount of content that is at our fingertips. Like, you can see these kids that are really into running on empty because their folks are really into running on empty, and they can see what that culture is, that authenticity to it. Like, don't get me wrong, like when you see that, like you were talking about the cops in the movie before, when you see them incognito when they're in the background, I think it's hilarious because you see them like fully in disguise, right, in leather disguise, and you go, well, that's quite cute and funny. You wonder, would a young person understand that? And in the context of when the film was made to now, would they look at it the same lens that they would look at it when I was, sneaking into movies when I was, as a teenager? I don't know, but I certainly would say that there's a massive cult following that doesn't seem to be running out of steam anytime soon.
No. Well, again, I lived next door to a guy called Mike Flokus, who was a big fan of running on empty, and he's a Greek guy, so he knows a lot of kind of they have big families, and a lot of the younger kids, 17, 18, 19, are big running on empty fans, like, because their dads were. But it's a funny thing, but because it's an outlaw movie, it's not. It still plays into that whole psyche thing of like we're a nation of outlaws. We're a nation of kind of bush ranging outlaw crazy guys.
Yeah, that's right,
and we kind of like the idea of people being able to say, you know what, I am going to build a car that goes so fast it'll suck your eyeballs out. You know what I mean? And all the kids all get that. They get that notion of what it is to kind of go, you know what, I just want to be a street racer. And it's so hard now. Like, wow, the penalties for even having a hot car, can be like, they can take you off the street just because
your car.
Because
they can crash your car if they want.
It's mind blowing, whereas I think so in some ways running on empty explores a time where we all dream of, where we dream that we can be, the street racer that we want to be. Maybe we can't be now, but we can dream, and that's the wonderful thing about running on empty. I think is that it offers young people a dream about stuff.
Yeah, and tapping into that, we're all outlaws. The Irish convict idea, right? The other thing that really you were just, in my mind there, just flashing these other ideas that sort of resonate with that, and that's storytellers.
Yeah.
Australia's full of storytellers, right? The first production company in the world, feature-length production company, was in Australia.
Yeah.
It was Ned Kelly, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So there must be something, and if you look at the first Australians, right, they're the first guys to do a production on a stage that's done with music and a story, with a narrative arc, a beginning, a middle, and an end. So, like, storytelling on this continent has been told for tens of thousands of years.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you run into this point where technology takes off. You can see the art in the car, like being an art lover, and watching those two things take off. I think that's something, for me, when I look at the film, I really see that. It has a lot of, obviously, it has a lot of Australianisms in it. But I certainly see that idea of art and storytelling and machinery coming together in that film.
Yeah, well, that has been a notion around for a long time, like Deus Ex Machina, which was the notion of that there would be something that was to do with the gods that would come down and solve the problem, and you didn't even have to have a reason for it. There used to be an expression, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
The gods, the machinery of God,
Yeah, okay.
And
that's mad.
It is mad. It's mad, and that goes way back. I think probably around, I don't know, the Industrial Revolution or something, about when they first started making machines. Maybe Leonardo da Vinci or something. Where the notion of a machine that could do something beyond a man wielding a hammer. It was something else, and
something that was autonomous or was production built into something
and godlike.
Yeah, well, I think we're going there, right? Like, I call it, because I do a lot of computing, right? I'm a big geek head, obviously. Like, if you sit in this room, you know that I'm a geek head, right? I call it the black hole. Like, when something goes wrong with a piece of machinery, right? You go to the first thing you do is fault detect.
Yeah.
Go and do some causality tests to go, where is the fault actually existing? And a lot of times in computing, you'll never find it. you'll never actually find the point of failure. You just turn it off and turn it back on again, and it works.
It works, yeah.
And I call it the black hole. Like, there will never be an explanation of why that failed at that time.
It's become an expression, hasn't it? Like, the notion if you're really fucking up badly, you might just consider doing a reboot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think definitely hitting the reset is definitely attractive in that notion.
Yeah.
But the machine that fails at the point where it's not supposed to fail. Like, I've had cameras fail unexplainably at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I can still not explain why they failed. They had, they were fully functional at the time. Tested them the night before.
Yeah.
But when you go to get that shot, it just turned off.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. And you think the way you talk about that, the machine gods, you're like, the machine gods aren't looking after me there, man. What have I done wrong?
Well, it's incredible. That motorcycle shop was named after that notion. The Deus Ex Machina. It's a very real thing in our cultural mythology. And interestingly, Elon Musk is most of the things he's working towards are about getting to Mars. Like he's got this now. I mean, someone was telling me the other day that if you want, if you're in a country, you can make a request. You can make a, what do you call it? A submission or a request for getting on Elon's what do you call it? Satellite.
Yeah. Starship.
Starship.
Yeah, they call it Starship. Yeah, 100 metric tons it'll take.
And the weird thing is, it's offering the best broadband in the country if you can get on it.
Oh yeah, Starlink. Yeah, Starlink.
Yeah.
I was with a mate recently, and we saw 20 satellites. It was during, if you look out in the sky during sunset and sunrise.
Yeah,
that's the best time to see satellites, because the light is closest to the atmosphere.
Okay.
Like if it's the middle of the night, it's hard to see satellites because they have to be in a very high orbit for them to be shining in the sun.
Yeah,
because they're hidden by the Earth. But during sunset and sunrise,
they're in the way.
They're the light. You'll see the light between the machine and you, right?
Yeah.
The same with the International Space Station. It's best to see it during sunset, sunrise. But we saw these 20 satellites.
Incredible.
Like in formation. Flying across, and he goes to me, "What's that?" And I go, "Man, that's Starlink." He goes, "What the fuck is Starlink, man?" I said, "Man, that is free Wi-Fi that's about to come to you, man." So then I went and looked up, man. I went and looked it up. Can you check this out, Holly, actually? Check out Starlink Satellite. Starlink Satellites, I think you can get them for like $400.
Yeah, no, it's relatively cheap. Yeah, and then there are no moving parts. There's your actual kind of device will track the satellite. It'll be looking for a satellite.
Yeah, and there's thousands of them up there.
Yeah, and then you just sit back and have the best internet ever.
Yeah, can you give me some pictures of it? Can you give me the pictures of the Starlink? I think that's it there.
Order Starlink.
Yeah, you can order Starlink, right? So they will give you a satellite. It points to the sky.
Yeah.
And it's now your Wi-Fi router. So you don't need the internet. You don't need a phone line.
Absolutely. You don't need anything.
And it's free.
So you can be in the middle of nowhere and have access to everything. It does my head in. And the weird thing is, I'm not sure how big your audience is, but they sometimes don't check where your application is coming from. You're supposed to be in the country. But if they don't check, you could also get it in here.
Oh yeah, totally. There's different ways to work around that. How'd you go, Holly? Got any other pictures of it? Just give me images. Can you give me an image?
Okay, back. I tried to have a look and see if they had any pictures. So we'll just.
Oh look, there's some Starlink. Yes, there they are.
There we go. Yeah, there's that. Oh yeah,
there they are.
There
look.
they are in the sky. So get that top right one.
This guy?
No, the other one. That one.
Oh my God,
that's what they look like.
Incredible.
So
how to see SpaceX's Starlink satellite
there they are.
Train in the night sky.
See, they go in formation.
Oh, that's incredible.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, so it's Starlink, man.
See, this is the guy. There is satellites up there, right?
Yeah.
This is the guy who, when he said to the guys in South Australia, you guys should have one of my big batteries.
Yeah, $100 million battery, yeah.
And you've got a whole bunch of people, nongs in the government going, those batteries will never work. Meanwhile, he's got his satellites ringing the earth, bringing in the best internet possible.
Yeah, well, even just the rockets that land themselves. I think
there's so many things, and you've got, thank God the numpties have gone, and they don't have to hear them say, how do you store it in a battery?
Yeah, or how long does it take to charge an electric car, all this sort of stuff, right?
This is going to be interesting, and then if we ever do a Running on Empty 2, because
there is murmurs out there.
There are murmurs out there.
Isn't
Don't
there?
worry, but John and I have been talking about it at length. Obviously, John De Bruin and John Clark, we've all been kind of having conversations about this, because I've been involved in a lot of filmmaking and a lot of television making, and I've seen a lot of stuff that's dumb.
Yeah, I did some IMDb stalking on you today.
I mean, I've done over 60 different television series.
You've done a shitload of TV, man,
and a lot of films and a lot of.
I think you've been in every TV show that there is in Australia, almost.
I killed Maggie Doyle on Blue Hillers.
Did ya? You're the bad guy.
I was a brother.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you looked familiar.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I got in a taxi once in Sydney just after I'd killed her, and I jumped in the cab, and the cab wasn't moving, so I just looked up, and the guy's just staring in the rearview mirror, staring in the rearview mirror. I get, hey, hi mate, what's going on? He goes, you killed your sister. I went, yeah. She had terrible dress sense.
Something had to be done.
Had to be done, he went, oh, God, and he drove off. I just told him, Elizabeth Bay, thanks, mate. Anyway.
Yeah, but he did all, there's, Water Rats was in there.
Yeah, did a bunch of Water Rats.
He did a whole bunch of Water Rats.
Different characters on,
I didn't see any Underbellies, though.
I know, it was an Underbelly.
You did Underbelly as well?
Yeah.
I was looking for Underbelly. I'm like, is there anything this dude hasn't been in?
Yeah, Terry Falconer I played, who was in Underbelly Badness.
Badness, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. And
Lapaglio's brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
He's Lapaglio as well.
Yeah.
He's just a brother. Just for you listeners out there.
Lapaglia family. Lapaglia.
He's on. He does the hosting now for Not Amazing Race, Survivor. He's Survivor host now. Yeah.
Oh, is he? Okay, there you go.
Oh man, he's got some muscles on him. Muscly dude.
Yeah, no, he's fit. He's cut.
Super cut.
Yeah.
But back to the murmurs though. Back to the murmurs are running on Empty 2. So I can hear our audience going, "Get back to you're running on Empty 2. What's going on there?"
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because there'll be, again, looking at where the world is going. I mean, when Running on Empty 2 happens, I'm sure there'll be an element of like, do we race? What was the toast that John did up in Cobar? Everyone stand up. I want to make a toast to the internal combustion engine. And the race will be, obviously, I reckon there will be some competition between the internal combustion engine and the electric vehicle.
Man, Teslas are fast.
They are super fast, man. And the weird thing is that there still has to be an element of the driver. And if the driver is in control of the vehicle, it does, just because your car can go fast doesn't mean to say that you can handle it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, again though, like, it's changed, man. Cars have changed so much, man. Like, they're so I'm sad to say that I've recently sold my Kingswood.
Oh,
all right.
God, that's a terrible thing.
Terrible thing to do, but
terrible thing to come so far and hear.
I sold it to Benny, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I sold it to Benny. So big shout out, Benny. I sold him my Kingswood, but it just
bloody nice, mate. What Kingswood? What?
1977 HZ.
Nice.
Yeah.
4-door.
4-door 202.
Okay.
Very straight.
Yeah, that's what
Gladys was her name.
We had one of those.
Gladys was her name. Yeah. Yeah, there was a few of that. There was certainly a few cars that did turn and burn.
Was that the Kingswood that had the slightly Mustang hip, or was it the Kingswood with the slightly fastback?
No. It was the first one.
Yeah. We had one of those too. It was a great one.
Had Venetians a lot.
Yeah. Ours was green with a white roof.
Yeah.
Light green with a white roof.
Yeah, they did the white roofs on them for a while as well. Yeah. Yeah. No, mine was a maroon car.
Oh, nice.
But when you drive it, like the smell, even just the smell of the car, right?
Yeah.
When you get into
vinyl and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
It's got a certain smell about it. Like you know you're in an old car. It doesn't lose like people. Was
it a column shift?
It was a column shift 3 on the tree, yeah. It was mad. When I first drove it, because I feel like I know how millennials feel getting into a manual car now. You're like, what the fuck is this? I don't know what to do. I thought it was a column shift automatic when I first got it.
Yeah.
And then I realised, hold on, there's a clutch. I'm like, oh shit, these are gears. So that's okay. So that's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Righto.
Wow. That's amazing. Oh yeah, I got to say, yeah, I had a Dodge Custom Royal for a long time, and that was a push button auto. It was a torque flight.
Oh yeah, so on the dash.
Yeah, 3-speed on the dash.
So you change gears by pushing a button.
Oh man, you just kind of you put the boot into it. It was a 350 V8, and you just put the boot in. When you're ready to change it, hit that button. You know, you could put it on full auto, or you could do a manual change, and it was great.
Yeah, but you can feel these cars when you drive them. You can feel them in the steering wheel.
And this is the thing.
You can feel them in the pedals.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about, isn't it? I mean, there are so many factors now where the driving a car is almost like playing a video game. You know, they've got, controls that make it impossible for a human to fuck up. So somehow or other within the culture, there has to be a sense that you're going to either go so fast your head will explode, and the only one who can race is someone whose head won't explode.
Well, yeah, in fighter jets, right? So they got because fighter jets do high Gs, right? So and fighter jets in high Gs, what they do is they train their pilots to do. Well, they have like a G suit on, which is surrounded by water, and the water will come up to where the G forces are because you can't compress water. Yeah. So it reduces some of the G force on you, but you can't eliminate the G force, right? No. You can mitigate it, but you can't eliminate it. So what they do is they teach them this technique called hooking. So they go, whoosh, 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 right? So they've got to push out their air and push out their neck so that their arteries don't collapse in their neck. Yeah, yeah. So they go, right? So when they're flying, they do hooking. So they'll push air out of their body very quickly. And I think we're nearly getting there with cars, right? So if you can fly a fighter jet, you can drive a Tesla.
Absolutely.
So yeah, maybe that's where we're going. But I don't know. Maybe there is scope for. Maybe there is something to be said, like for running an MT2. The bygone era of the combustion engine.
Well, exactly. Look, there's absolutely.
Or is there a bygone era?
Well, again, depending on. There's so many possibilities, aren't there? Like, for instance, you don't have to set it now, or you could actually set it like a lot of. You could make an historical film.
Yeah, make it a 90s film.
Yeah, and you just go, okay, this is a film about what it was like then.
That'd be fun as well.
Watch this and dream.
Yeah, that'd be fun as well. I think that's a lot of what we do now, though. Like, we do a lot of nostalgia.
We do, yeah.
In this day and age, like, there's not a lot of new sort of original culture that's happening at the moment. Like I've said this on the show recently. If I said to you, think of the fashion of the 60s, think of the music of the 60s, you'd be able to go straight there. And it would be quite aesthetic, and you could show someone a photograph and say, what decade was this photo taken? Yeah. They'd go to the 60s because they're wearing bell-bottoms, looks like a Woodstock thing there, right? You go to the 70s, same thing. If you've seen discotheque, you'd be like, that's Saturday Night, Saturday Night Fever, that's the 70s. Yeah. 80s with those crazy tracksuits and big hair.
Yeah, and shoulder pads.
There's these iconic things that are through the decades. Yeah. But around mid 2000s, that stopped. I realise that I've only just recently reflected on it. I think music wise, I've tied one is Ed Sheeran is a bit iconic in a decade. But generally no. Like, you can name bands like Fleetwood Mac or Billy Idol or Vanilla Ice. It doesn't matter. Like, the contrast is vast, but my point is that you can name those decades and they are very individualistic on their own. Yeah. And once you get to 2000s, it's all a reference to the 60s. It's a reference to the 70s. Yeah. It's a reference to the 80s.
Absolutely, yeah.
And things like that are highly successful. Like, look at Stranger Things, that's referring to the 80s.
Yeah. And look how that song is just kind of number one again.
Oh, Kate Bush, man.
Who would have thought? I bet she's just going, oh my God.
Oh, dude, that's one of the cool. She's got a cool story, man. She because she was a bit of a feminist, bit of an anti-establishment kind of artist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when she went to
the composer, she was a woman who created the music on her own.
Obviously, highly prolific, highly intelligent person, right? Yeah. And being a bird back in the 80s, man, they'd be like, that she tried to get a record deal. Record company said, that music's never going anywhere. It's never going to have, it's not going to have, it's timeful, it's not timeless. And and you have no sex appeal. So we're not going to take you on. So then she ended up producing it herself. So she has the production rights and the rights.
Yeah.
So she
the
gets
song rights, production rights, everything. Yeah, she owns the lot.
every time you hear that song, just realise that she's getting paid twice and sticking her middle finger up to the establishment along the way.
I just love hearing that stuff because you realise that
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Oh, hundreds.
Massive. and even just that last, with Stranger Things, there'd be still those executives now from all those years ago who just banging their head on a table somewhere, just going, why?
Why? Why didn't I sign her?
Why didn't I sign her?
Why didn't I sign her?
I guess she even looks attractive when I think about it. You're like, everybody thought she would look great. Shut up.
Yeah, man, she did, man. But she was outside.
Great.
But she was outside the model, though.
Yeah, but
it wasn't the norm.
But that was rock and roll in those days. Everybody was. I mean, you look at the Sex Pistols or whoever. You look at bloody Hendrix. You look at anyone. They were kind of just, I'm a freak. So what? And everyone went, we like our freaks. Thank you. When you look at Red Hot Chili Peppers or something, they're freaky guys. And whoever, Madonna. You just kind of go. I bet Madonna looked at Kate Bush and went, "I'm going to do that."
Yeah, she probably stole off her.
Probably.
Allegedly. I don't see the black and allegedly on there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I need to get that in there in case.
You did say probably.
Probably. I did get probably in there.
Yeah,
good.
Probably.
I'm safe. I'm legally safe there.
Yeah.
I like those hero stories of artists beating the system.
So do I. I love it.
I love those stories, man. But there's another film that's in production or thinking about going in production to do with Running on Empty. Is that right? I heard about this. Oh, I should check my notes.
Don't know.
No, it wasn't Running on Empty 2. No, it's got another name though. Doesn't it have another name? Don't know the working title.
Yeah, haven't heard anything.
Yeah, okay. I'll check it out after the show. I'll check it out after the show. Because I heard a title when I was interviewing people in Cobar.
Yeah.
And they were talking about this other film. And that's why I asked her, is there Running on Empty 2 sort of coming out? Yeah. And they were talking about this film, but they didn't call it Running on Empty 2. They gave it another name.
Well, look, here's the weird thing. You just guarantee that whatever follows Running on Empty, whatever it's called, it's going to have one hell of a script to attract the kind of money that is required to make it.
Yeah.
Like this film isn't going to be made on the cheap. This film's going to be made, it's going to be very expensive to make, and it's going to be based on a notion of having an excellent script. This is what John and I have talked about in the car. We were, he said, "Have you heard anything about the 2?" And I go, "Well, yeah, I have, but this is the issue. There's no one's going to throw money at anything unless it's really good."
Yeah, it needs to be ironclad. It needs to be solid.
Totally, it's got to be a great script reads like a dream. You just can't put it down. I've read scripts like that. You just go, "Oh my god, this is just wild."
Yeah, I've had that experience as a writer with actors before.
Yeah.
I've had both experiences. I've had the experience where it's been quite poor, where they go, "This script is fucking horrible. I don't want nothing to do with it." But I've been on the other side of it where they go, "Man, I had to read this thing 3 times, and I know that this person is me.
Yeah,
like I want this role.
Yeah,
and getting that kind of feedback's great. Because the ones that I've written like that are generally from the heart. There's no intention in it. I just wrote it.
Yeah.
And so those films that I've written for the sake of writing them.
That's the only way to create. Because most of the time, if it's made by numbers, you're going, yeah, maybe a blockbuster, but in the end, no one cares. Whereas Running on Empty, people care about. They actually do. People care about. There's lots and lots of movies that have been made with a great deal of passion, and the passion is the thing that is kind of. It fills people up when they watch the film. They feel more complete after seeing the film, because it's true, because it's built, created, made by people who totally believe in it, and the money comes later. You know,
it does. Yeah.
It's like the Beatles played music because they loved it. You know, they loved playing music. They wrote songs that came out. They didn't try and construct songs for a purpose. They just wrote songs that were going past, and they grabbed them, and they happened to have that right chemistry between five guys who could just kind of go, we get it, and the world changed forever after that.
Yeah, they totally did, didn't it?
Same with the Stones, Jagger, Richards. You know, they were just like they wrote what they felt and what came out.
I've seen some of the older footage of the Stones, actually, man, and you're really onto it there. Like, when I look at their footage of when they were teenagers and like young 20s, man, you're like, man, they're just raw.
Yeah,
fully raw. They don't even understand. You can see on them in their expression and their posture, they don't even know what they are yet.
Yeah,
they have no idea what they are yet. But they're so raw and authentic. People go, I want more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the weird thing is that when those guys came along, when all of those artists came along. The classic Tin Pan Alley songwriters were like, they were still doing their job. They were still writing songs for millions of Pat Boone's and all of those sort of people. But all of a sudden, there was a whole bunch of new people who were creating absolutely their own music. You know,
yeah, creating genres.
Hendrix, John, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. You know, it just went on and on. You know, that these people were just creators and were going around the kind of industry songwriters. You know, like, lots of people wrote songs for Kylie. You know, people wrote songs for various pop artists. You know, that's always been. But the rock bands that wrote their own music, that just they jammed their whole kind of industry.
It has that rawness to it. It has that coal-face feeling to it as well.
Yeah.
That rubber meets the road mentality. Again though, as a original music performer, like I've done cover bands and things like that before, of course, like most musicians have. Like, and I say this to people as well, like, don't knock covers, man. Like, covers are the access to music.
Yeah.
You probably listened to a song that you really liked that inspired you to become a musician. You then probably tried to duplicate that song at some point, and then you realise, maybe I have my own voice.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I can go write my own stuff, right? But it started at a cover. And I say this about films as well.
Well, that's how the Stones started. They were playing covers, and then same with the Beatles. And then all of a sudden they went, like a switch went slick. They just switched to switch.
Yeah, you go from craft to art.
And they just went into, I've got an idea. And someone else said, well, let's hear it. And the next thing you know, they're kind of going, oh my God, that's number one.
Yeah. Oh man, that music, man. Even thinking about that music gives me goosebumps. Like, it's just so impactful, man.
Yeah.
It would have been an exciting time. Like, I don't know, like, people talk about exciting times, like, were the 60s exciting? And I imagine it was, because the space race, like we were talking about before, was happening, and fashion was changing, communication was changing, the medium was changing. TV was going from black and white to colour.
Yeah.
But I think we're in this era now that's very similar to that time, where there's a lot of paranoia, right? And people were worried about rock and roll. They were worried about the Beatles. The Beatles were going to destroy the world, apparently, at one point, right? But they were far from it. They were disruptors. There's no doubt about that. They were disruptive to the industry. But the fears that are out there, like, I think we're all like kind of... it's a bit different, man. It's a bit more like cyberpunk these days. Like, we've all got these phones, right? And we're the canaries in the coal mine, and we don't know what's going to happen.
No,
we've got no idea. We don't know what it is.
In this device, we've got so much computing power. It's mind blowing. I mean, like, what we can do on these devices is kind of incredible.
Yeah,
at the same
it's literally
time,
an X-ray machine. You could see through the Earth with that phone. Or you can see the stars on the other side of the Earth.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely,
it's literally can see through the planet. That's how powerful it is.
Yeah. On the other hand, this can destroy our psyche because we spend all this time on social media just going, oh, no one's saying anything, no one's liked anything I've posted, and they get very freaked out.
Yeah, the ego narcissism thing. I don't know. I worry about young people in those things because, like, I find myself on doom scrolls, right? Where you're on a doom scroll and you're getting outraged You're like, I'm outraged. I'm like, oh, put this thing down. Man. I don't want to be outraged. But outrage is, I think they've done studies as well that shows that a brain on cocaine is very much like a brain that's outraged.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's an addictive nature to being outraged, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is what happens when, you spend a lot of time on these and you got the dopamine levels kind of all over the shop, so it's like being on drugs, basically.
Yeah, totally. And they know what they're doing. Like, it's literally a pokey machine that's following you around. Having a phone, it's aesthetic. It feeds into ego.
Yeah.
You can show off with it. You can take your photo, put it on the internet.
Yeah.
It's your own newspaper. It's your own TV station. It's your own photo album that you can put out to the world.
Well, when I had to take this dog to the vet the other day, with two vets, one near where they lived, and the other one out at Rosebery Animal Hospital, which was a late night opening thing, and I was talking to the people who owned the little creature, the lovely little fella, and they were like, "Oh, this is so good you can do this." Listen, I got my phone with me. I'm going to be here waiting for the news about the dog. I'll be catching up on the news. I can see my favourite shows on the phone.
Yeah.
What's the problem here? If I wasn't here, I'd be doing exactly the same thing at home, probably.
That's right. Yeah, you can. Yeah, the medium has changed, but the outlook is the same. Like, for instance, TV. Right, when TV came out, people were worried about people rotting their brain on TV.
Yeah.
Things turned out okay. Like,
yeah.
I think there's other problems with the world, but I don't think you can point to TV and say that that was the cause of problems.
No. There are many other things rotting our brain,
totally
including these.
Including those.
Yeah. I mean, there. I think one has to be careful that you don't. You put limits on yourself with the phone use. Lately, I've really, kind of eliminated a lot of my social media use because I found it wasn't making me any happier.
No.
In fact, it was making me miserable.
It makes me anxious.
Makes me anxious.
I get anxious.
And I haven't been doing it much at all. And I've been just going, oh my God, have I ever beaten the system?
Well, the strange thing about it is, like, I post constantly, right? Like, I'm going to post this episode. I'm going to put it on social media. I'm going to cut it up into little bites. I'm going to put that on TikTok.
Yeah.
Put some of it on, like, it's going to be on Spotify. Then I'll chuck some of it over onto Instagram.
Yeah.
It's going to do the rounds, right? I'm going to put it out there. I find this love-hate relationship with it. Like, even calling it posts, right? We call it posts. Like, when I started in bands, to get a post out, I literally had to go to a post and wrap a poster on it.
Yeah.
Stand out on a corner with flyers, like encouraging people to come to your show, right? That's how we used to do it.
That was so funny, man. That's like today I was stopped at a set of lights and I look across at a telegraph pole and there is my friend's Skunk Hour selling that, alerting people to a gig and their new EP coming out. And I'm going,
yeah, Skunk Hour's mad.
My God, it's old school taped to a pole because that was in the days I was talking about before when we played 300 dates a year, the telephone poles were covered everywhere with gigs, bands playing everywhere.
I'm literally posting.
Yeah,
that's me
posting.
We were posting all
yeah.
the time, man.
Yeah,
it took a lot of part of the day, and you'd have to go and post all around the venue.
Yeah.
So you saturate around the venue to get the locals there. Go and stand in places that go to other bands that are like yours, and when people are coming out, go, hey, if you like that show, come and check out this show next week.
Yeah.
Right? You go do this direct marketing. I haven't done direct marketing like that in years, man, but that's what the internet is.
I know, but that was real people contact as well,
Yeah, but then you convince them, you look them in the eye.
Absolutely, that's what I mean. You'd kind of go, hey, I really like that poster, man. Here, have one.
Yeah, take one with you.
and come to the gig.
Take two, bring your girlfriend, man. Come along.
It's funny nowadays we can only dream of that, like because people say,
can't imagine
click a like on your post and you go, that's great. Maybe they're going to come to the gig. No
look,
way.
even if they say they're going to the gig on the event page, that doesn't mean they're going either.
No.
How do we do it? So for free gigs, we know that you'll have at least 40% drop off that say that are going that aren't.
Yeah.
For a paid gig, for a medium price gig, there'll be a 10% drop off.
Okay.
So if you've got 500 people going, that means 50 people aren't going to go.
That's right.
And that's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people out of 500. What we do is we call it expansion.
Okay, hey,
Sell more tickets than you've got.
Can I do
it all the time.
Can I do a quick poster run?
Yeah, man, sure.
Okay, I'm doing a gig at the Gasoline Pony on the 16th of October. And it's called, this is just a little low-key gig. I wasn't going to do it, and then the guy who runs the joint said, hey, just do something, can you? And I went, yeah, sure. So
I love when they do that. Just do something.
Yeah, I went, okay.
Okay.
And I rang a few friends, because I recently went past the Hopeton, which is a venue that has closed down for years, and it looks like they're trying to do something to it, like probably turn it into apartments now or something. But I'm going to call this Sunday the 16th a Hopetown Hoedown. And I've got a few people that have played at the Hopeton that are going to come and have a bit of a sing. Yeah. And that's also gearing up for a thing called the Stanmore Festival, the St. Anmore Festival in good. Stanmore.
The St. Anmore in Stanmore.
In Stanmore at the, what do you call it, the Salisbury Hotel for 6 o'clock on the 5th of November.
5th of November.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Good venue. I played there.
Have you?
I played that venue, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's great. It's great. You can catch the train there, walk across the road and go to the gig.
Yeah, Stanmore's where it's at though. Stanmore and more.
Yeah.
Around that zone, Newtown. There's some really decent small venues through there actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's lots now.
Yeah, there's lots of hidden little pockets in there. The one I did not recently, that was pre-COVID actually.
Yeah.
There's one there called the Hideaway.
Yeah, I played there, yeah.
Yeah, Hideaway's not too bad. Like, it's very small, very compact. But
Highway Bikini?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
I think it's a Highway Bikini. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Done that one, but then there's the other, you do the bigger venues like the Factory or they've got the Mosh Bar.
Yeah.
The other ones we're doing, Crowbar is a new one that they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played there, but it wasn't called the Crowbar then. It was called the Bald Faced Stag.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. No, it's funny. It's so weird. I mean, there are so many venues that are just simply have just got new owners and changed the name or whatever, and you think, oh, I don't know where that is, and you go, yes, you do. That was the Sly Fox. You go, okay.
Yeah, you know the stage. You always know the stage. Like the stages I do like though. The stages in town that I really enjoyed, like the Lewisham's got a good stage.
Yeah.
Factory Theatre, Factory Floor has a good stage. And the Crowbar has a good stage. Mosh Bar has a good stage, and of course the Lansdowne.
The Lansdowne, yeah.
Yeah, the Lansdowne's great.
Well, that's back on board again.
Yeah, I drove past the other day. I'm like, yeah, man, they're pumping it again.
Oh,
yeah, it's mad.
Well, that was a close call, because the Sandringham kind of closed and is now mini golf centre.
Mini golf, yeah, that's right. That one paused me blood a little bit.
Yeah, when they start to remove the dog bowls from the doorways, that things are changing in the suburb, and probably things aren't changing for the better.
Yeah, they're not. It's not in our interest.
It's not in our interest, and not for the dogs. It's like it's a fascinating thing. There used to be so many weirdos going up and down King Street, and they're slowly disappearing. There used to be a guy that rode up and down King Street on like a gopher, but with these he'd attached giant stereo speakers to it, so he would drive up and down King Street on this thing, just grooving away to whatever kind of rock tunes he was kind of celebrating on that day, But people would just go, yeah, that's so and so, yeah, blah blah, But no one would look twice. Everyone just go, whatever. Everyone was allowed to be in their own space,
Yeah, be yourself. That's all you can do, man. Like, there's nothing wrong with that,
No, isn't it good?
Yeah, totally. I think it's so liberating to be yourself.
We're all happier when we let people just be themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they don't harm you. There will always be some lunatic coming out, screaming at the top of his lungs, turn the bloody music down. You're like, hey, listen, mate, you're louder than that music. When you yell like that, that's really offensive.
Oh man, there's always jerks out there. I think Sydney crowds are the hardest. I really think that Sydney crowds are the hardest. Like, you'll have the head bobbers and the arm folders.
Yeah.
Like, Sydney's a head bobbing, arm folding town. They love to do that. You got to sort of invite them into the space and go, come on, come down here. Yeah. Hang out with your bird. Go a bit crazy, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what everyone else in this room thinks of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, isn't there? I think Melbourne's different. Melbourne has got a thing where they just kind of, they've always gone to see music. They go, they'll go and do 3 different things in a night, and music's one of them,
Yeah, they're an indoor city.
Yeah, they go like, we're going for dinner, then we're going to see a band, then we're going to see something else, and then we're going to see a band late night, and then we're going home to tuck ourselves into bed. You're like, good, man, that's good.
Mad.
Meanwhile,
that sounds like a night out.
In Sydney, they just go, sorry, we're introducing poker machines to that venue, and you can all fuck off.
Yeah, well, there's 4 dudes that show up to the gig. 2 of them are watching the gig. The other one's playing a poker machine. The other one's convincing him not to play the poker machine. So double your ticket sales, kids, is the lesson of that. If there's pokies at your venue, do more.
Yeah.
Do more, because, man, those pokies are hard to beat.
Well, in fact, that a lot of people's theory is that between poker machines and real estate developers, that's what killed music in Sydney.
I totally did, and not just for Sydney though, but it's also because you got to think of as Australia and its art culture.
Yeah,
it's a constellation, right?
Yeah,
there's a star missing from that constellation, so it's had an effect on the brightness of the whole thing.
Yeah, you're right. I like that analogy. Actually, it's good.
It's not just this one thing that's affected; it's actually affected the brightness of everything else as well.
Yeah.
And I think, and don't get me wrong, I understand that venues have got to pay for their costs, but some of these venues that I go to have got marble pillars at the front of it. Like, you go, how did you afford that? You're like, clearly it's from the gambling revenue.
I know. Isn't it? Again, you just look at it and go, well, there's something wrong here. And all of the pressure is on the artist to bring people.
Always is.
And you kind of go, well, hang on. You're putting on music. Maybe that will draw people if you know it's a known music.
So venue. How much are you paying for my content again?
Yeah, and then again, how much are the alcohol suppliers paying for the social media? Are they contributing to the social media, or is it just the bands you want to make?
So we're paying for the advertising.
Yeah,
and we're not getting any of the beer money.
No.
Okay, sounds like a good deal.
It's a great deal, isn't it? It's a great deal, and you know what?
Oh, and I'm going to take 20% of all of your head counts as they come through the door.
Absolutely,
as well.
And you'll have to pay for the PA.
And I'm going to take the first 10, so you don't get any of that at all.
No,
first
you
10
get
of mine.
Basically, you're paying us.
Oh well, I'm really. Look, I'm so desperate to perform. It sounds like a good deal, Terry. I'm going to take it. No, but this is the torment, right? This is the torment of musicians, man. This is what you go through.
It's incredible. I mean, I remember the first times I realised that they were kind of, people were saying, there was always sort of a percentage of the bar that you'd get.
Yeah.
Okay? And that was a thing. Just a thing. It was seen as a business kind of thing, like, oh, we'll give you, 10%, 5% of the bar.
Yeah, we'll make it interesting
and so you can come and play. Well, okay, cool. That's good. Now, it's no, you pay for everything, and we can't afford to pay you because we've got to get our profits first before we can actually pay you.
And I need you to come up with an advertising campaign to make sure that you get people through that door.
Exactly, all of that sort of stuff. So all of the onus is on the artist to not only write the songs, work out what they're going to do, how to perform it, buy their equipment, get to the gig, set up, and do all that sort of stuff. But they've also got to pay for everything else as well.
Up front. Yeah. And they're already struggling, right? So that's that model is broken. So
yeah,
I experienced that model for a good couple of decades there.
But anyway, I'm on at the Gasoline Pony on the 16th of October.
Make sure, you can book tickets online.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, go and check it out. Book tickets online.
Easy peasy, and then you don't. then there's no exchange. There's no exchange of filthy lucre. It just is all magic.
Yeah, totally.
It's just magical.
Man, I've seen a lot of your musical content online, man, because you especially during COVID, man, you were punching a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, I was doing a weekly kind of candlelight session, and I did a kind of a long live to air, a live to sort of the internet kind of thing for men's mental health. I got approached by these women in Melbourne who were kind of, were saying, look, we've been on the receiving end of some pretty bad treatment, and men's mental health is kind of something that we're really into. Would you be interested in doing?
Yeah, they're going for causality,
thing. So I did this sort of an hour, 20-minute thing, and it just went off. It was amazing. But that was as a result of them seeing my candlelight things, and a lot of people would just look forward to that every week and just kind of go, oh, he's kind of handling it. this lockdown, this strange time, and I'd share that. I'd sometimes say, "Oh yeah, I'm not having a great week," or "I'm doing this," or "I'm doing that," and people go, "Oh, there's a bit of relief in that." I think
Yeah, there is. There's that sense of not being alone.
Yeah, totally. That's what it is.
Yeah, and that's really important as well. Like, and that's that's what I like about the podcast and the festival. Because I run the Made in the West Film Festival. Where, I get these collaborators together. They all make a whole bunch of movies, and we put them on a big screen.
I know you asked me to come out to one, and I couldn't come for some reason, but I think I had something.
Yeah, you had a gig on.
Yeah. It was unfortunate timing.
Well, 26th of November, man, if you can make it.
All right.
I'll give you a VIP ticket.
26th of November.
Yeah.
Is it at night time?
At night time.
I've got a gig on the 26th of November. Can you believe it? At the Butcher's Brew Bar in Dulwich Hill.
Oh, Dulwich Hill. Yeah, that's a good gig. That's a nice venue, that one.
It's a nice little venue. Yeah, it's great.
It's a corner venue, yeah? A little corner venue.
Yeah. It's one.
Was it a stage?
No, it's like a little... What is it? It's no, it's not a corner venue. It's next to the bottle shop on Marrickville Road. But it's just a great little local venue, Okay. And I can't believe that there's a clash of dates.
Oh, again. Oh, man, look, you should
hang on. But how late do you go?
Oh, we go till midnight. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see how I go.
Yeah. Oh man, if you want to come along, I'll give you. I know the people that run it. I'll get you a ticket. Yeah, no problem at all.
I like your firmware, man.
Yeah.
Constantly uploading and downloading. You're up to date.
Oh mate, I'm always updated. Always, man. Look, as far as content goes in Western Sydney, I see all of it.
Yeah,
I see everyone's movie. Cool. And what's going on is insane, man. Like a
lot of people making stuff.
Yeah, but quality. Like this stuff is international level.
Okay.
Like it's really insane. Like I think Mr. will probably kill me. I can do an announcement really quickly here. Because we always go for high flyers of judges, right?
Yeah.
I got Brian Brown.
I
got Brian as one of the judges this year. I'm like, yes.
Excellent.
Got him back.
Excellent.
He won't come out though. He never comes out. He always says his name, or he's always out bush.
He'll judge it before and then send his results in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we get all the results together. That's the other thing about it, man. It's
totally Brian is great. He
honest dude, very honest dude.
Yeah, I sent him a copy of a book. I had a story in a book, and I don't know. I sort of sent him a copy, and he rang me out of the blue and just said, "G'day, Terry. Brian here, Brian Brown." I went, "Oh, Brian."
Oh, okay, Brian.
Brian, how are you?
How you going, mate?
It's very nice to hear from him, and we had a lovely chat about all sorts of stuff. He opened up about all sorts of things about how he became an actor and all of these wonderful things, because we shared an agent for a long time.
Okay, that would have been like back in the days of like Town Like Alice and those sort of films. Yeah.
And we had an agent called John Cann, who was just the most true artist's agent, with a heart.
Oh wow,
really amazing.
Rare
guy.
find.
Yeah, died unfortunately.
Yeah, bummer.
Misdiagnosed liver cancer.
Yeah, okay.
They missed it.
Oh, in this day and age as well.
Oh,
that's
man.
that's a shitty deal.
Oh yeah, totally. It happens.
Oh, it does, man. It does. Like I've realised, getting to this point in my life, I'm at the midpoint, right? I had my birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you very much. Thank you. I've realised the answer of life, and that's 42.
Yeah, cool.
So I realised, if I live to 84, that means I'm halfway.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
I'm in the halfway zone.
Yeah.
50 would be good. If 50 is halfway, it means I'll become a sanitarian, but that'd be great. But when you're younger, when you're in your 20s, you're going to weddings, you're going to christenings.
Yeah.
When you're in your 30s, you start going to 40th and 50th birthday parties.
Yeah.
When you get to your 40s, you start going to funerals, man.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucks.
It's so weird. Look, when I was in my early 20s, one of the guys that we played with is a guy called Gary Maisel, and we were all sitting around. He had this great apartment overlooking the beach in Cottesloe in Western Australia, and the sun was going down.
I've lived in Cottesloe before. It's fucking mad.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Fucking beautiful.
Anyway, he goes, "Fellas, I'm just fast approaching my quarter century," and I went, me and Mike Fagan, who was the harmonica player, we both looked at each other and went, "Fuck!" The quarter century. Never thought of 25 as being quarter century, but it sounded like.
It's a chunk. It's a chunk. It's a big chunk, right?
Yeah. It kind of really floored us, you know. But
well, I realised though, yeah, on that sort of topic though, like, what I realised, you know, when you're 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you have your 11th birthday.
Yeah.
You're like really excited about your birthday when you're 11 years old because it's the second birthday at 2 digits, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And it's the second birthday, and the year that just passed is 1/10 of your life. It's a big piece of your life. It's 10%.
Yeah.
When you get to 40, it's 1/40th. So in your brain, you're like, years fly by, but the year is still the same.
Yeah.
It's just that the ratio has changed.
The ratio's changed. Yeah. Oh, look, it's very funny. I do remember sort of when, you know, being a teenager seemed like sort of something that was just hovering up there in the future as like something kind of wonderful coming.
Yeah.
And was a long, you know, at that age, it's a long time coming.
It certainly is.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I remember it being forever.
Yeah.
And I was a late bloomer as well. Like, puberty took forever to fucking rock up, you know? I didn't shave till I was like 27 or something like that.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer too, which is good when you're at school because you're not, you know, you're still kind of having fun. You're
still a kid.
Yeah, you're still a kid, and you're not. You know,
You haven't peaked early.
Yeah. Whereas there's a lot of guys who peaked early, kind of, you know, have a lot of angst and stuff like that. And they kind of.
I'm happy with all
concentrate.
those. I'm happy with all those guys though, because most of those guys that peaked early at school for me were all bullies. I'm like, you peaked a bit early too, bro. A bit too early, bro. A little bit early. I'm still in my second win, bro. I got more in the tank.
More in the tank.
I think the best revenge ultimately is success.
Yeah, well,
Best revenge.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you can turn around and say you've had a good life, you know, what more can you ask for? What more can you say? You know, I mean, or you've lived your life the right way around, or whatever it is. You know,
if you were to look left and right anyway, like why look left and right anyway? You should be just worrying about your own.
Well, exactly. You know, live in the now, live in the moment, and just be. You know, a lot of people live in a future they can't attain, or they don't think they can, or they're so, you know, they're so projected forward that they can't actually enjoy anything in the moment. You know, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a hard one though, that one, because because I think, you know, I've been victim of that as well, like being lost out of the moment.
Yeah,
where you go, man, like I remember there was one festival that I did, highly successful.
Yeah.
We made profit, which is, you know, as an artist, which is fantastic. All of my mates made profit, which is even more fantastic. So my fellow colleagues made profit too.
Yeah.
We all won, and I found myself at 3 o'clock in the morning still bitching about this one thing that went wrong.
Well,
and it was so a nothing. It was so. Why focus on that?
Yeah. Look, it's a thing. It's a weird thing, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's like I've seen it with. I've worked with actors who are like that. You know, like for instance, they've been in a show that's wonderful, an amazing piece of work, and they get one bad review, and that's the one they focus on. Every other review has been like, this is extraordinary, amazing work. There's one review and that's the one they just go, but and you go, let it go. Yeah. That person has got an agenda that you have got no understanding of, and so all that's going to do is they're going to live rent free in your head. So don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah,
let them go.
Yeah.
And not only that, but that's what they want. They want
to live rent free in your head.
Stick you a little pin in you, like a voodoo doll, and then then they own you. You know, and you kind of go, no, don't do it.
Yeah, it's the same with I've gotten popular enough now to get trolls. Like I've had a couple of trolls here and there, right?
Yeah.
Because as your profile rises, you get you get the odd troll, right?
Yeah.
But my trolls are becoming more frequent. I'm like, and then I look at my audience. I'm like, my audience has tripled in size. Oh shit! So that means therefore ipso facto, so is my trolls. Yeah. But I've got some funny trolls out there, man. If they're listening all the way to this point, just tick unlike, right?
Yeah. Look, man. I mean, I basically just don't engage with trolls. If the trolls are nasty, I just don't engage.
Don't engage.
You know, it's like it's like a paralysis tick. If they don't get the blood, they die. You know? You the same with a troll. A troll needs oxygen from you responding, even if it's just like,
or even better, reacting. If they get you reacting, is even better.
Anything that gives them oxygen and they're happy. And you kind of go, no. You're not smart enough to do that. You're not smart enough to actually kind of warrant that. So you get nothing. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going through my analytics. I'm like, oh, I've got like 5% of trolls in my audience. Like, I actually wear it as a bit of a badge of honor. Just saying. So,
you should get some little troll dolls.
Yeah,
those old troll dolls, and just send them out. What's your address? I'm sending you out a little doll.
just go tick unlike. Tick unlike. I don't like this content.
Well, you just
and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe by there.
Yeah. Subscribe. Don't unsubscribe. Just subscribe, but just shut up.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm dying for a pee. I've got to go for a look. I've got to go to look. Can you stop the record there, Holly? Just push the blue button there. I'll be back. Yeah. No. Now I've got dogs in my mind. I was talking about running empty. Now I'm talking about dogs. My dogs are great though. I love dogs.
Dogs are great. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't bring your dog today. I thought you were going to bring your dog.
Yeah, no, it was just so wet
outside,
and I just thought she would get kind of soaked going from the car to in here, and I thought, what if she just starts to kind of, shake it out.
Shake it out up here.
Yeah.
I've been so close to getting a dog so many times. Like, I want a dog so bad.
Yeah.
But my schedule is just so insane that I would always be leaning on my friends to look after my dog.
Yeah, look, it's a weird thing. I've got a few people, if I have to go away and do stuff, like the Running on Empty Festival, I can leave the dog with friends. And she's, I know they love her and, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I always worry about that. That's the only thing that stops me from doing it. Like, I could use the best man's friend fellowship.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. And then teaching another mind, let's go do this and go have some fun. Let me throw this ball for you. See how you go with that. The crazy thing for me about dogs was that one of my strangest experiences with dogs was actually in the military. We used to get you'd think that getting pedigrees would be the go for bomb searching or looking for drugs, this sort of thing. Get a pedigree. That's why pedigrees are there. We realised really quickly that that's not how you do it at all. The way that they select dogs now in the military for training, is they go to a pound and bounce a ball.
Oh, okay.
Whatever dog is more responsive to going, I want that ball. Okay, we'll take that one.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, because they use the ball as reward.
Oh, okay.
So they train the dog to do, search for things and be a working dog.
Yeah.
To have a training regime, you need to have a reward system. So they would use the ball as reward.
Oh, okay.
So they find dogs that are more playful are more trainable. So they found that, you'd think that you'd go for the pedigree, go for the top shelf alcohol,
It's funny though, I've seen some dogs who are so ball obsessed that they're untrainable. They cannot be trained because they go, no ball.
Oh, no ball? No, nothing.
Nothing. You go, I want the ball. And have you seen a breed of dog called a Malinois?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Belgian Shepherd.
Can you pull that one up, Ollie? If you can type, what was that one called?
Malinois, Malinois, Belgian Shepherd.
Belgian Shepherd. Let me have a look at this thing. I don't know this dog. Yeah, what's the deal with this dog?
They're unreal. They're, one of the most amazing dogs you're ever likely to see. If you've got a video, there's a couple of Instagram channels that have just Malinois videos.
I think I've been chased by this dog before.
So they're like a shepherd, but without the sway back.
Yeah. They look like way leaner than a shepherd.
Well, man, what they can do is beyond the pale.
Actually, I've seen these. These are the dogs that jump really high.
Yeah, and not only that, they can, there was a thing I was watching yesterday where they're walking along this thin, tiny piece of board like that with their front legs, and their back legs are up against a brick wall, and they're kind of walking sideways to get to the end of this little thing.
Okay.
Another one
That's some mountain goat shit.
Yeah, mountain goat shit. And they're dogs, and they're super athletic. Super athletic. They're kind of mind-blowing, really.
Oh, dogs spin me out, man. Like, you think about it, like, at some point in our ancestors, right? I'm talking thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Where, we were worried about being hunted by cats and, worried about being hunted by wolves, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, someone has picked up a pup. And that's where it started.
Yeah.
So they're taking the pup away from
the pack.
From the pack. And that's where dogs have evolved from.
Yeah.
And now you get all the way down to like a sausage poodle looking thing. You're like, you used to be a wolf, bro. Like, what's going on?
Well, these things are the closest I've seen to a kind of like the super powerful, intelligent creature, like that. But they are a handful. Like they say, if you're just a civilian who's got civilian kind of house and car and stuff, don't get one of these dogs because they're just too freakish.
Too much energy.
Too much energy. Too powerful, and they have to be trained. They're highly trainable, but and again, they do use them in the military a lot.
Yeah. Oh, actually, they do. Yeah, I've seen these dogs. I was amazed, man. Like, there was this time where they got us all to stand in the line, and they said they all gave us a bullet, and they said hide the bullet anywhere on your person. Like, put it in your boot, or put it in your in your cuffling, anywhere.
Yeah.
And we'll test the dogs to see if they can find a bullet. And they found
it.
They found it.
Yeah.
Like, and we would even try and hide a small amount of explosives. Dog would find it.
All right.
Without fail. Like, I've never seen them fail. I've never seen it. Like, they always find it.
They always find it, even when you've got it up your bottom. Is that right?
Yeah, man, they will find it. No, but then I learned further, though, that these guys can smell cancer, man. Like,
they can, yeah.
The dogs can smell cancer.
Yeah.
Like, good luck at an airport with a banana if you're trying to get into WA, man. These guys can smell cancer.
Yeah. No, it's
They're impressive.
It's impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
I think we have from memory. Oh, my battery's about to die on that camera. From memory, I think we have 2,000 smelling receptors in our nose.
Yeah.
The dog has 5,000.
Yeah, but extreme. I mean, there's a great animated TED Talk cartoon about the way dogs smell.
Okay.
And it's kind of mind blowing. You just think, oh my God. They can not only just smell, they don't just run out and get their wee males in the morning from the other dogs, but they can smell what's in the tree, what birds are in the tree, what they've had to, what they've eaten.
Well, it's
the degree at which they can kind of interpret.
A person described it to me this way. They go, they can smell the past.
Yeah.
And you go, wow, that's an interesting way to put that, because what they're doing is in their brain is they're putting together a map.
Yeah.
And a story.
Yeah.
Like, they're going, all right, so this bird was here at one point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
This animal was here at this point, and this is disturbed over here. And my owner's over there. So they're creating a map.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's an extraordinary...
It's amazing.
Extraordinary kind of creature.
It's crazy, man. But I love dogs, though. I'm a dog person. I'm not a cat person. Highly allergic to cats.
Yeah, I'm allergic to cats, too. But I do love cats, but I've had... When I was a kid, I had lots of cats, but dogs have always been my thing,
Yeah, I guess my my hopes and dreams of being a lion tamer are gone.
A lion tamer?
Yeah. I'm allergic to cats, so I can't be a lion tamer.
Well, you might not be allergic to lions.
They're all the same thing, right?
They are the cat family, but
Yeah.
There are many members of the family. I mean, there are some cats that have got a pelt, not fur.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're not allergic to those. We had this weird sort of I don't know, some sort of Norwegian barn cat that lurked around for a while, and I was like, my God, this doesn't drop fur. It's unreal. It's like a rabbit pelt, and that thing would just sit in my chest and then just look at me, kind of going, "I'm going to kill you." And
they always have that look in their eyes.
Yeah, and would just look at me, just going, "I'm going to kill you," but I wouldn't sneeze. So I was going, "Yeah, you may, but you're going to have to. It'll be a very bloody mess that you create. But you won't kill me by any allergy, okay?"
Yeah. Oh, maybe for me though, like they say when you sneeze 8 times in a row, that it's the equivalent to an orgasm.
Right.
I can testify that that's a load of shit. Sneezing 8 times in a row is a painful experience. I do not recommend it. Yes, cats can do that to me. I sneeze all day.
Yeah, it's a ferocious thing.
Yeah, they get me.
Snow dogs.
Yeah, and that's it. And it was in the context of Snow in the Dream as well.
Yeah, I've seen them. They're massive units.
Massive
and
things. They're one step away from a wolf, I think.
Yeah, and they really are kind of they're a breed all of their own. It's like, whoa.
Well, I think they use them for guard towers in Russia.
Yeah,
and Kampuchka, which is like, deep Russia.
Deep Russia.
Deep Russia.
In the gulags.
In the gulags, if you've seen Stranger Things, it's the dogs that are defending the gates. It's bizarre how you have these dreams where you go, I've never seen that before in my life, but yet I'm dreaming about it. Isn't
it weird that the dreams are kind of crazy things? I love the fact that, your intense dreams become like memory, they can
have that impact on you.
Well, not only that, but they're as fleeting as your memories. Like you can have been in Paris a couple of years ago, and a dream that you've had a couple of weeks ago is you can have the same intense experience of it as your trip to Paris. They're both as removed from you.
Yeah,
they're as intangible. You can't actually touch them anymore.
Yeah, the way I get my head around that, the way I describe what you're talking about there is if you picture the last 5 years of your life and put it into 3 seconds as a photo reel, right?
Yeah.
I can fit it into this one drop of brain matter that's up here, right? I can do that really quickly. And I think that for me, the dreams are a bit the same that way. The thing about dreams that spins me is like I dream about things that I've never seen before.
Yeah. Well,
that spins me out.
That's your imagination at work,
The subconscious.
And the other thing is, of course, is that after the fact, after the event, it's as real as memory.
Mm. Yeah, because it's in there.
It's in there, and it's real. It may as well have happened. I've had dreams that my dad died a number of years ago now, but I have dreams where we've run into each other, and they're wonderful dreams because they are as real as my memories, and I treasure them. The dream comes as a gift, and it's really.
Oh man,
it's just really cool.
Mad. Yeah, a dream that comes as a gift. I really like that.
Yeah,
that's great because I'm quite a vivid dreamer.
Yeah.
I wake up often in different dream states.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Because what's triggered this off actually was we were talking about the Beatles.
Yes. Yeah.
It was I think it was John Lennon or might have been Paul McCartney. I can't remember which one who it was. They woke up one morning. No, I think it was Let It Be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
he woke up and he wrote it out.
He wrote it out.
Yeah.
He dreamt Let It Be.
Yeah.
Like he dreamt the song.
Yeah, crazy.
And you go, wow. So I don't know. I've always kept a dream journal because when you lose that moment in the morning where
absolutely it starts to drift
and it
just to filter away.
Fades away.
Yeah. And you're like, oh no. It was so good. Oh no.
Yeah. Well, there's other ones where you have a trigger in the day.
Yeah.
We go, I totally forgot about the dream.
Yeah.
And then something in your day triggers the dream.
It. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I dreamt about that thing. Like that was bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's so true. But with memories, it's the same with memories sometimes. You just have not thought about something for a long time. Then someone or something will suddenly trigger the memory and you'll be like, oh my God, I have not sort of thought about that since it happened 35 years ago,
Yeah, wow, yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I think the biggest triggers for me in memories from the distant past are definitely music.
Yeah.
Songs. And aromas.
Smells.
Smells are really impactful.
Yeah. Well, smells and music, they're incredible triggers. Yeah.
Man, they take me. Well, the strange thing, the thing that spins me out about smells and sounds is that they're visual in nature.
Yeah.
Because they'll take you back to a visual space, and you'll see where you were at that time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll look upon yourself, or you'll look through yourself to see that moment. But I think the same thing happens in dreams for me. But some of them are really ridiculous. Some of the dreams I have are absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
Absolutely insanity. They're total trips of themselves. But they're the ones I really like to write down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go through my dream diary because I write it like at either 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and it's broken handwriting with a pen that's half working.
Yeah.
With these broken ideas.
Yeah. Give me your address. I'll send you out a box of pens.
Hopefully they say Running on Empty on it. Don't forget to go and check out the Running on Empty festival. Festival 2022. It's coming out soon, guys.
Coming out soon on your YouTube channel near you.
Yeah, and I've got an extended interview with you.
Yes.
And John Clark, actually. So I'll have those out as extras.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, man, I'm halfway through the cut, and it's looking mint.
Is it good?
It's really good. Yeah.
How about that 57 Chevy the guys built in Dubbo? Isn't that amazing?
Oh, dude. Some of these machines, man. Oh, man, I've got to tell you. getting behind a camera and filming some of these cars is some of the best. It's some of the best content you can make.
Yeah,
it is. It's content that just writes itself. Like there's like in camera moves, right? Like you can do something really simple, right? You can just do a static shot.
Yeah.
Put the camera on a tripod, do a static shot, or you can add movement to the shot. So that's basically the whole spectrum, like crazy movement to minimal movement to no movement, right?
Yeah.
I did this one action around a might have been a 55 Chev, and I circled around the car, and then I took the footage back and I retimed it, so it's like this motion that goes around the car, and it's like on a track shot.
Yeah.
And I look at it, I go, oh man, forget the rest of the festival, just this shot, this one shot is worth it for me.
That's the money shot.
That's the money shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you put it that way. Because sometimes when you look at content that you're either acting in, singing in, shooting, directing, whatever foothold you have in that content, there's moments where you look at some of it and you go, that is money.
Yeah.
You just know.
Yeah,
you know
that's
inherently.
working up. That's where, yeah,
that's going to make money.
Yeah.
And if anyone argues with it, it's undisputable.
Yeah,
it's not a dispute. That's money.
Yeah. It just grabs you, it grips you.
Yeah. And you don't even know all the reasons why.
No.
It looks good.
Yeah.
But there's also a feel to it. There's a
je ne sais quoi.
The French would say the certain something, the je ne sais quoi.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's that certain something about it. And there's some shots in that, I've got to have those cars that you go, fuck, that was a mad opportunity to shoot though.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that, just the sheer effort that's gone into a lot of these vehicles, it's kind of mind-blowing. That and the talent that has been kind of drawn together, a team of people to do everything from the upholstery to the paint to the I mean, John and I were talking about the detail in that 57 that we shot out at Rebel's Garage.
Yeah, man. I've got some mad shots of you in that car.
In that car, well, man, the details in that car, like the extra attention to little things, is kind of superlative.
Yeah,
it really is. It's not just a fast car, but it's also every little bit of it is immaculate.
Yeah, no, pristine but accurate.
Yeah, but just little things like where the drop front bonnet sits back down onto the bodywork. There's a little sleeve there that the bonnet actually sits on. And John and I were just both going, that extra thought that goes into that is mind-blowing, because it wasn't just a bit of a rubber grommet or something. It was actually a molded piece of metal that looked like thought had gone into it, and then it was again painted with the same gloss finish as the rest of the car.
Yeah, I remember that part of the car.
And you're like, we were just going, my God, to what degree these guys went.
They go and some of these guys go to great lengths. Some of these cars, man. I interviewed a few dudes. Some of these cars are like 15-year projects.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
$1 million projects. Some of them.
Yeah.
They'll put $1 million into it.
Yeah,
which
crazy.
is insane. It's insane, man. I love it.
That's what passion is. People will put. People will put something into something they think is worthwhile, and they don't see it as anything other than a pursuit of happiness in a way.
Yeah, well, I certainly a big shout out
because they're not thinking about selling the car.
No, I talked to them about that. Like, some of them some of these guys have like the original plates, right? So they'll have 57 blow-ins a plate.
Yeah,
but not as a theatrical plate, like as a registered plate.
Yeah.
People will try and buy the plate for more than the car.
Yeah.
And the car's already $250,000, man. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You guys are insane to be even having that conversation.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
But this series is a heart attack, man.
Yeah,
They would buy it.
Yeah.
They'd buy it, for sure. Yeah. The memorabilia that comes out of running on empty, like even at the auctions and stuff at the festival, man, like some of these things are going for multiple thousands of dollars.
I mean, there was a slab of running on empty beer that went for about $400, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like you kind of go, well, you're going to drink that?
Are you going to drink that, or are you going to frame it?
I don't know. You'd have to think about. Anyway.
Courses for horses, as they would say.
Oh yeah. I remember I had a can of remember when the Simpsons beer, Duff beer?
Duff beer, yeah, I remember this.
I had a can of Duff beer because they were selling it here at one stage.
Yeah.
And then they stopped selling it, and someone ripped
copyright,
off my...
It was copyright. It was
yeah,
copyright issue,
that's right. And someone ripped off my can of Duff beer. That one can of beer is probably worth a fortune.
I drank a case of that beer and threw it away.
There you go. There you go.
Yep,
there you go.
yep.
This is what we,
the pains.
We don't think we were living in the moment and enjoyed it immensely. So
That's right.
What can you do?
Oh man, even if I had the empty can, just the empty can would do.
Yeah, well, like we can live our life in regret, or we can just live.
Yeah, well, a lot of the old folks that I talk to, man, none of them talk about the shit that when they talk about regret, they don't talk about the stuff that they did. They talk about the stuff that they didn't do. Yeah. And I think I think that if you hold any resonance through the journey of your life, if you're umming and ahhing about doing something, the obvious answer is to do it. Yeah, I mean, but on the other hand, if it's not in you to do it, just be accepting of that. Oh yeah. I think a lot of people go, "Oh, I should do more," and you kind of go, "Well, maybe you're not cut out to do more." That's true.
Maybe, and so don't beat yourself up. If you're not doing as much as someone else is doing, then maybe that's because you're you and they're them. And you're happy in your own in other ways. Be happy in that. It's a hard thing because most of the time we are, especially if you're looking at television and social media and stuff like that, we're in a disastrous competitive arc. Where we're constantly being asked to compare ourselves to people who are constantly showing off their shit. And you're like, I don't care what you post.
Yeah.
I got a dog. I've got a roof over my head. I'm walking around above ground. I'm happy.
Yeah, man. I totally dig that, bro. I totally dig that, man. Like, I've got my little show. I've got my little band.
Yeah.
And I've got my little production company.
Be grateful,
And I'm happy for that.
And no one's raining rockets on our shit, man. I mean, like if we were in the Ukraine at the moment, we'd be sitting here going and hope no one blows our shit up with some rockets. So
yeah, man.
There's a lot to be grateful for.
Yeah, man. I've spent like 2 years of my life in third world countries, man.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the most prized commodity on the planet is running water.
Running water, yeah.
Hands down.
Oh, totally.
Hands down.
This is a weird thing, I was thinking the other day how we're gonna get so kind of wrapped up in the technology and stuff like that, but just walking into the house and turning on a light. Electricity's been around now for like 120, 130 years or something. I don't know what 140 years probably more.
Yeah.
And
it's in that zone, yeah.
And it's been a long time now that. In the developed world, you can walk into a building and turn on a switch, and we get light, or an oven, or.
Well, put it this way: Newton wrote calculus by the oil of a sperm whale.
Yeah.
Right. So it was written by white light.
Yeah.
But it wasn't written by electricity.
No.
And that's calculus.
Yeah.
So where we predict where planes land.
Yeah.
How cars drive. The lot.
Yeah.
Everything about motion.
Yeah.
In the modern world.
Yeah. It was written under the with
a feather. Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that is like Newton wrote calculus in 9 months.
Yeah.
But if you go to study calculus, it'll take you 4 years to get that degree.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was one smart motherfucker.
Fucking insanely smart, man. Insanely smart dude, right? But they're the outliers, right?
Oh yeah, look, like the Michelangelos, the Leonardo da Vinci's, they're freaks of nature. In a way,
They totally are, yeah. The Einsteins, man, they're freaks of nature.
Yeah, Einstein, Picasso, all of these people, they just kind of go, woo, the Wright brothers,
Oh, yeah, man. Orville Wright, man. Like, I think the artist is first. You know how they talk about the, art and war, right?
Yeah.
I think the artist is first. If we're talking about chicken and egg.
Yeah.
Art is first. And I draw on the Orville brothers, right? The Wright brothers.
Yeah.
When Orville Wright did his first flight, do you really think that when he took that flight, he goes, man, if I just strap some bombs to this thing, I could bomb a city?
Yeah.
I don't think that
wasn't in his head. Same with the guys who who came across nuclear
technology,
fission, fusion.
You've got fission and fusion.
Yeah,
which is a lot of confusion.
A lot of confusion. But those guys were probably not thinking of massive destruction. I mean, now we've got Putin talking about maybe unleashing nuclear weapons, and we're just kind of going.
I think he's going to walk away from that. I think he'll walk away from it. I hope so.
I think they'll kill him in his own country before they let him do that.
No, he won't. They won't murder him, Terry. He's going to have a heart attack.
Have you noticed
and it
how
will
many
be totally natural causes? Come on.
Have you seen how many? Have you seen how many wealthy?
It's not an assassination. He died of natural causes.
There's a whole, there's a whole swathe of Russian businessmen who've died recently.
Yeah.
Under mysterious circumstances.
Novichok.
And the thing is, it looks like most of that money has now been recouped by the state, who are looking at using it to fund the war in Ukraine. So, a very weird world we're living in.
Oh, look, I think it's testament, though. You know how the old saying goes, history repeats itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a whole bunch of Russian soldiers that invade the Ukraine. They're paid, maybe $400 a day?
Yeah.
Right, they're in that, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
$400 is a lot of money per day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they'll have tax exemption out of that as well, so they won't have to pay it back to the government. They'll get to keep it.
Yeah.
Versus someone invading your country and you're not getting any pay.
Yeah.
But you got to fight for this, otherwise they're going to take over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that is evidence that heart will always trump money.
Yeah, well, exactly, because they are passionate about their lifestyle.
What you got to lose?
And whereas these other guys are going, oh, the money's good.
Money's good, but my mate died yesterday, and I don't like this war anymore.
I don't think I'll stick my head up over that parapet.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go as gun ho as my mate did.
I think I'll just hang back and take the money.
Just hang back a bit, see what happens.
No, I couldn't see them.
We looked and we couldn't find them.
No, we really looked and we they weren't there. I mean, we looked really hard.
But it's true though. I really that's where history repeats itself. You know how they have the rude symbol of like sticking your two fingers up?
Yeah, that's from the longbows.
Yeah, it's the longbows, right?
Yeah.
So it's about heart, right?
Yeah.
Going, we still got our fingers, bro.
Yeah.
You want to fight? We
Fight.
still got them.
We've got them.
We got them. You want to fight?
You up? You up for this?
Up for it? You're stuck in the mud. Do you want to do this or not?
Yeah.
And that's about heart versus privilege.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And heart will always win. Heart will always win. Like
Yeah.
it will make. It may take more casualties.
Well, look at Vietnam.
Oh yeah, dude.
Classic.
Yeah, well, they look at the Iraq War and the Vietnam War and they say there's no comparisons. Have you heard this?
Huh.
There's no comparisons. Okay.
Yeah.
None.
Okay.
None. Zero. Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting philosophy. I don't know where the fuck you read that because that doesn't make no fucking sense at all.
No, I know. That's what we get. That's another beautiful piece of fakery, isn't it? Like that the notion of like what's in front of your face. No, that's not true.
Yeah, no, what you see isn't true. What I'm telling you is true.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
oh, you mean the propaganda?
No, I mean the news. It's the news. Well, I tried to describe to someone once. They go, I said to them because I've done a lot of internships for people, right?
Yep.
Get them into the industry, and one of the unfortunate levers to get into TV is news, right?
Yeah.
You want to get into, especially from the production side. You want to be a cameraman. Good place to start as
Good as a news cameraman.
Yeah. Constant content, right?
Yeah.
And I'd ask them this very fundamental question: what is news? And they'll go, oh, well, it's they'll give you the airy fairy, right? It's to inform people of current events and to basically keep people informed in cases of emergency. I'm like, no, that's all incorrect.
It's just compass points.
No, well, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, mate.
It is. Well, it's actually just northeast southwest.
Yeah. Well, it's
northeast west south.
All right. What's going to sell more advertisement spaces? A brawl in Manly.
Yeah.
That has footage, or a news headline with no footage of Iran being invaded. Well,
again, there's a very fascinating show on the ABC at the moment called it's complete now, but it's called The Capture.
Yeah, The Capture. Yeah, I know this one.
And just about how you can, for the listeners who don't know, but it's about how you can adjust footage to make something.
Oh, totally different.
Totally different. So you take what you know to be reality and you can adjust the footage to make it look like something else entirely. And they're starting to do that a lot more.
Yeah, I was a news editor for 5 years.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Well, it's extraordinary. Yeah. Again, like movie making is the juxtaposition of images so that you can tell a story by simply having...
Narrative arcs, man.
series of images that tell the story. You don't. That's why so many films don't have a lot of dialogue, because it's all about the images that tell the story.
Image driven, yeah. It's the same in music though, right? Like, and we use this when they look at it scientifically, they call it semiotics, right?
Yeah.
So something is a signal, and something is a receiver of that signal.
Yeah.
Right. So if I put up a photograph of my face with no smile, no emotion, and I precede it with a bowl of food.
Yeah.
What's my emotion? Am I hungry? If I precede it with a coffin, am I grieving? But the face hasn't changed, just the image before it has.
Yeah, yeah.
So the preceding image will lead into what the next image means.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how semiotics work.
Yeah.
And and they do this deliberately. The advertisers do this the best.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they certainly do. I mean, but the I think the Russians were the filmmakers that first started using kind of that whole notion of like, there's actual a kind of a concept of it. It is montage, and being able to say, okay, these series of images will give you the answer to this question. This politician eventually is a turkey, because you just have a picture of a turkey.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, it's there are so many elements in persuading people what to think, and I think news people. I must admit, on Twitter, I love seeing the citizen.
Twitter's an interesting space.
Love seeing the citizen journalists do.
Actually, yeah,
freedom of information searches.
Well, these guys are turning into rock stars, man.
They are. They're becoming
turning into rock stars.
Exactly, because they're kind of going, oh my God, that is the actual truth. Who would have thought?
It's marketable.
It's marketable, and it's marketable.
You can sell that.
And not only that, you think, wow, wouldn't it be great if the actual media services did, the MSM actually did some of that?
It's not in their interest.
No, but that's the thing.
It's to tell the truth.
Because they've now told themselves they're a clickbait industry, whereas Twitter is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because people are just going, oh my fucking God, the truth is fascinating. And the untruth is just, worthy of taking out and executing a lot of them.
Yeah, well, the contrast is also the outrage clickbait.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's outrage clickbait, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I watched this happen during elections as well. They had the Cambridge Analytica thing, where they were pushing votes this way and that way. And they're obviously doing it. And I know that they're doing it in our country as well.
Yeah.
Because I'd have because I've got me, man. I'm friends with everyone.
They Cambridge Analytica. A lot of those guys that are involved in that came from Australia. They were involved in Tony Abbott's election and all that stuff. And then they went across the UK and got bloody Boris Johnson elected and Trump and all this. Just kind of go, oh my God.
And that's their business model.
Yeah,
That's their model. Like, see what we did here? We can do this for you.
Aren't you proud of your dad? Imagine being the bastard child of those sort of men who do that. You'd be like, oh my God, eventually, all that money that your dad's earned and all that sort of stuff. And you've got a lovely horse and all that stuff, but your whole family are a bunch of pricks. Sorry.
Oh man, I've learned further than this. It gets worse than you think, man. Because when you start diving into this, because you think it's like what you will start to think on the surface of all this, you'll think that the world is a sea of shit, and you either swim in it or you drown in it, right? Which is a really negative way of looking at the world, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, like the masses of good people are kind of suddenly. That takes a little while. I mean, I did Keating the musical, and it was on the eve
of Keating the musical.
Yeah, I played Bob Hawke and John Howard, so I won a Helpman Award for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can we pull that up there, Holly?
What was that?
Keating the musical.
Keating the musical.
Yeah, I played Bob Hawke and John Howard, and it was amazing to see when we did the show in Perth. I remember particularly for some reason because Perth was a very right-wing state at that point. So to do Keating the musical, oh yes.
Is that you?
Yes, that's me.
Yeah, whack that on.
I'll just turn this
he's even got the suit. He's even got the suit. Because he wore that suit for
the America's Cup.
America's Cup. And he goes, anyone that doesn't give the person the day, give staff a day off today is a bum.
As a bum, exactly. Yeah. And
I'm going to embarrass you a bit here, Terry. I've got to pull this up. I have to pull this up. This is fantastic.
it's very funny because when I did this, Keating would come and see it, and even though it was about him, I think
he's in the audience.
He was in the audience a lot, and he was so enamoured with my John Howard performance. He in some ways, he liked that even more than the fact that it was about him. Because such was his loathing for John Howard.
He did loathe him.
He loathed him. Yeah, loathed him.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see what would happen is that people would come and see us and say, "Oh my God, I didn't realise we were a large number." They'd come and see the show and everyone would be going ballistic.
That's bad. Yeah, far out, man. Like, I must say though, I watch politics like a lot of people watch football.
Yeah. Same.
I really do. I'm
fascinating.
I'm an ABC 24 diehard. I watch Question Time. I watch Old Question Time.
Yeah.
Watching Keating as an orator is fantastic. He's a really well-spoken man.
Well, Jim Chalmers is the new Keating.
Yeah, man, you took the words right out of my mouth.
He's going off.
Jim Chalmers is he will be PM one day.
Yeah,
no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. We'll probably have to go. So Albo will have his reign of to maybe even 3 reigns. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Jim Chalmers after after the kickback, after the next change of government.
Yeah.
The next change of government after that will be Jimmy Chalmers.
He's just a smart cookie, and he's a great orator.
Unafraid,
great orator. Got his facts at his disposal, just like that. Bang, bang, bang.
Yep, an intelligent person.
Yeah, man.
It's
great to watch.
He's someone I would refer to as a junkyard dog.
Oh, he's like a junkyard dog. He's gonna get you.
He'll get you bloody jugular, mate.
Don't go into that yard.
Oh man, when people take him on like in Question Time, he reminds me of Keating a lot.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
he
just decimates people. He's like
easily, effortlessly.
Yeah.
In fact, I imagine that the opposition are really scared of asking Treasury questions. Because you watch them, they ask questions because you can see the obvious footholds that they go for, right? So the obvious footholds that they want to go for at the moment are taxation, right?
Yeah.
So they want to go, are you going to put the tax measures in that are coming in for the next, which is a 2-year away thing.
Yeah.
But for now, if we can get them to just say one word that leans towards them not doing that tax cut, we'll jump on that.
Yeah.
All right, that's where.
So that's the game they're playing at the moment.
That's their hand that they're playing at the moment.
They need to get it to a point where the public is so against it that's so and it is so obviously unjust and wrong that they will. As soon as the opposition start bleating, people will just go, "Oh, look, shut up."
Yeah. Well,
if they can get to that point, that'll be fine. But you can see why they're playing the long game with that.
Yeah, but I just think the gene pool in the Liberal Party at the moment
Jesus Christ.
is okay. So you got Angus
like a box of avocados, aren't they?
Yeah,
box of rotten avocados.
Angus is up there, man. Angus is up there. He's like flying the flag.
But he's a nong, He's you kind of go, okay. So you've got Angus has got a couple of clever accountants. He got given a Rhodes Scholarship by the powers that be that give away Rhodes Scholarships.
Yeah, I think they refer to that as the back of a Kellogg's.
I mean, lots of sports guys get them. Lots of people get them.
Honorary doctors.
And if you've got cash and a good accountant who can knows how to apply things and get money for your family through the government handouts and that sort of stuff, someone like Angus Taylor can survive. But boy, is he ever going to get a comeuppance.
Yeah, but
same with Morrison. They're just going. They're both going to end up. History will treat those guys as the charlatan kind of.
Of course, it's inevitable.
Criminals they are.
That's inevitable. That's absolutely inevitable.
I just hope they go. I'd like to see them go to
But that's their best foot forward.
A high security jail. I'd like.
But that's their best foot forward. Their best foot forward for the Treasury response.
Yeah.
Is Angus Taylor.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not I'm easily swayed. I can vote anyway. Don't get me wrong, man. But we've done up the.
I'm only going to vote for smart people. I'm not going to vote for dumb scientists.
Yeah.
I want the smartest scientists in the world designing the airplanes, the rockets to Mars. I want all the smartest guys in the world doing that shit.
No, the weekend.
Currently in Australia, we have got the dumbest guys in the world
who
are
over.
9 years in government.
Apparently, the weekend is over. The weekend is done. The weekend will no longer be because
We have electric vehicles.
they're taking the ute away. They're taking the ute away, and that's going to be fun.
They don't make them anywhere in the world.
Oh, hold on, didn't they have a they had Ford and Holden down in Geelong there? What? Oh, it's okay. So touchy,
Mate, it's...
We were making fucking cars.
We were making, and we should be making electric cars now. Like,
yeah,
you know,
totally.
making our own.
We should be making our own electric cars.
And feeling proud and feeling a national pride in that.
Yeah, there should be a Holden electric car.
Totally.
There should be a Ford electric car, and they should be running out of those goddamn factories that they shut down.
Exactly, and they should be using Australian nous and know-how to actually kind of make better cars and better batteries and better, everything.
And totally, and of course it's within our grasp, man. Like, and like, how long is the laundry list of awesome shit that Australians have done? From solar panels to Wi-Fi
to everything. Yeah.
I mean, how long is that list?
Yeah,
it goes on forever.
It's kind of crazy,
Yeah, but this is coal, right?
Yeah,
and don't be afraid.
Oh my god,
that's the narrative, man. But again, though, it comes down. Like, they are storytellers. Politicians are storytellers as well.
Not very good ones because their market are a bunch of badly informed primary school children who kind of laugh at fart jokes. Like you kind of go, okay, now we've got to lift the game so that we can actually make the humour.
If you want to see some scary stats, man, check out the Sky News short clips.
Yeah, no, I have a bit. They
get hits, man. They get hits. They are getting audience, man. They're getting oxygen.
Well, they have, but the numbers still aren't great.
It is a bit of an echo chamber. I will rest on that, but it is a bit frightening that because it doesn't take much for that propaganda machine to ignite.
No, but what's interesting is that even people have turned on the ABC because they realise that they're getting
biased.
They're biased, and they're getting all of these guys like Dutton and kind of
you've noticed it as well.
All of these ridiculous talking heads in who know nothing.
How much of the opposition gets airtime on the ABC?
It's ridiculous, and that again, that's why. It seems to be all falling into Rupert's lap. I mean, I'm sure that's all part of his game plan.
Oh, dude, as I said, this has been going on for longer than you think.
Yeah.
I really, I can't tell you about it.
What he hasn't kind of factored in is the fact that Twitter has taken over as a news service, and that's the problem. Even the journalists are starting to go, I fucking hate Twitter. And you're kind of, well, there's good reason for that because Twitter is actually taking a lot of your audience.
Yeah.
So I guess the best thing you can do now is just kind of either do better yourself or shut up and take your ball home.
It is true, though. It is true because even through other platforms like Reddit, right?
Yeah.
Reddit's another one of those red herrings that are in there. GameStop, this stock that was GameStop, right? They were taking on the financial institutions about them shorting against bets that they had loaned. So they're betting against their own bet.
Yeah, yeah.
And in reality, to make sure it failed.
Yeah, I know.
So then they bought up all the GameStop and went against them, right? That was all through those forums, though.
Yeah.
All of those economical battles happened through those forums.
Yeah, because people are using the forums and the kind of the non-mainstream media services to actually tell people what's going on. And when people hear it, it blows their mind. And the more minds that are blown, the more they realise that we're in a situation where what we're being told and how we're living is just a complete beat up by a bunch of kind of wealthy guys who are trying to say that we should be happy with fuck all.
Yeah, I've got a way to frame that. Austerity is billionaires telling millionaires that me and you were too greedy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see. You've had two beers tonight, mate.
Yeah.
That's too many. You're indulgent and you're
outrageous.
Outrageous.
I'm outrageous. Don't forget to subscribe.
Because I'm worried that if you having two beers is just too indulgent, and I won't own my super yacht.
Oh man!
When I want to,
Look, if you ever do build a super yacht, I'm your guy to remove a bridge. So if you need a bridge removed, I'm your guy.
Cool.
Oh man, we've totally gone down a political rabbit hole, but that's a whole bunch of fun.
It has been fun.
Man, I could talk to you for hours because criticising the previous government, criticising the current government, in fact, as well.
Absolutely, I criticise anyone that is not up to scratch. You know, I mean, I just think, well, you know, we everybody needs to be held to account so they all do better.
I think that's the right phrase right there, is held to account.
Yeah.
When someone has $1 million in a slush fund to do, what do you call it? So when you sue someone for saying something bad, defamatory.
Oh, yeah.
So, when someone has $1 million that was supplied by someone that's obviously against the regime, and no one explains where that $1 million comes from, and you're a politician, like, what the fuck?
Exactly. WTF and WTAF. I mean, all of this stuff, man. I mean, you just like sit back and go, just be truthful.
Yeah.
You'll get a lot further. And I'm
the
same with the
warts and all.
I mean, I'll definitely have a go at the Labor guys on Twitter if I feel like they're not being up front.
Yeah, totally, and they have been in the past as well. They're politicians just like the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
But I must say there is a sense that the adults are back in charge.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
There is a sense of that.
Yeah, there is.
And I resonate with that, especially in because we do we go for funding bodies to try and do our community service as a film festival, as a production company. We make content that's not always profitable, but it's for the public interest.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's hard to get people to listen to that space.
But
profit will always be answered.
Yeah, yeah.
If you can make money, people go, oh, I want in.
Yeah.
That's an easy sell.
Yeah, yeah.
The hard sell is going, well, over the next 10 years, if we do this thing right now,
yeah,
it's going to have a really positive effect in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
That's a hard sell. So you need someone that is open to ideas, that will have trust in an organisation. And organisations should prove their trust as well. Don't get me wrong. As a production company, we usually start up incrementally with a company.
Yeah.
We'll do one little job. And then they go, oh, you did really good at that job. Do you want another 3 jobs? We go, yeah, of course we did. That's why we did a good job on the other job. We want the repeat work.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's what's sort of happening now. There's a film wave that's happening through Western Sydney at the moment. And same in Western Melbourne as well, actually.
Yeah.
And Perth is sort of like, they're about 5 years. In 5 years' time, I can see that wave starting for them as well. Being someone that's been in it for so long, I see these patterns. This film wave that's coming is going to be amazing. It's never been so accessible. Filmmaking has never been so accessible. There's never been so much internet availability for someone to garner information about how to build things.
Yeah, yeah.
Information is free. It's literally free.
Yeah, yeah.
It's literally free and available. So in the next 5 years, once that airport goes in, man, everything, all the chips will fall where they may.
Yeah.
And I think that it's the artists that live here that should claim all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than the outsiders coming in and taking what's rightfully ours.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's...
And that's the opportunity that we have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, that's how you get Running on Empty 2 done.
Yeah, yeah,
that's how you do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You do that with the local workforce.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean, again, you get a bunch of people who understand what it is about, and then get a good script.
The script is everything.
The script is everything.
Absolutely everything. Hey, man, look, I've got to wrap this up. So where can we find you to go and see your gigs, and where can we follow you and perhaps even stalk you online?
I do have a website, just terryserio.com.au. But that is the girl who works on my website is currently having some familial problems.
Okay.
Her parents aren't well, so the website hasn't been updated for a couple of months. So most of the time, just on social media, on Instagram or
so just
or Facebook.
Terry Serio on Insta.
Yeah, Terry Serio on Insta is the best way, and then
you got mad Insta content, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've been slowing down on it lately. I used to post kind of a lot more, but as I mentioned earlier, my happiness level's gone up as my internet posting has gone down. But I try to have quality content when I do post. But
just post and ghost, man.
Post and ghost.
Post and ghost. Post and get the fuck out of there. That's what you do. That's what I do. I just post. I don't even read the comments anymore. Yeah. Although when there's a really positive one, I try to tick like.
Yeah, nice.
I like that.
It's nice to respond to the people that have made the effort,
That's a nice comment. And then you go, I got 5% trolls. Bring it on, bitches.
Bring it on, baby.
But yeah, man, look, thank you so much for being on the show.
An absolute pleasure.
We watched Running on Empty a couple of weeks ago.
Out at Cobar.
Yeah, Cobar, man. And just to get my crew inspired, man. And Like, we do jobs all over the place, and man, doing that job out at Cobar with you guys was an absolute fucking awesome experience. And yeah, I know that everyone, it's very rare that absolutely everyone walks away happy.
Yeah.
And everyone walked away happy.
Well, it's one of those things that is, you know, I mean, you know, there's a lot to be happy about in doing something that you enjoy. And as I said, is a surprise. You know, John and I would often look at each other out there and just go, "How did this happen?
Yeah.
How are we doing this all these years after the event, and still getting joy? You know, it's a great thing."
Yeah, and it's totally worthwhile. And don't forget to go and check it out. You can check it out on Still Searching Productions. Don't forget to go over to Running on Empty 2022. You can find out a shitload of content over there, actually.
Yeah, on Facebook.
On Facebook, and go and check out Terry Serio, man. He's playing around Sydney. He's all over the place, man. He's all. What's your next show?
The next show is at the Gasoline Pony on the 16th of October. Then the 5th of November at the St. Anmore Festival in Stanmore.
Oh yeah, go and check out those shows, man. I actually want to go to that Stanmore one.
Yeah, that'll be an all day thing. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff happening that day. It's a great initiative.
So I can float around and drink beer and
yeah, and you just jump on the train and kind of go home.
Yeah, that's
hammered.
That's my element, man. I'm in my element.
Hammered on the train.
But once again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolute pleasure, Ross, and thank you so much. And thank you, Holly, for working all that sort of stuff back there.
All the background stuff.
Yeah, great, doing some great stuff, Ross. So keep it up.
Yeah, man, no worries. And speaking of trains, you've been watching the Pagey train. You can find us on Spotify. That's right, video on Spotify. And hey, if you're over there on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. But for you avid listeners out there, you can go check us out on iHeartRadio, or you can check us out on Apple iTunes. Basically, anywhere you can find podcasts. You've been watching the Pagey train, and we'll see you next time. Sonic boom. We're all done, man. Terry, thank you so much, man. That was a mad interview. Thank you.
Promo shot?
Promo shot, yeah.